for the weekend. Well, here we are, facing down a potential international incident that seems to have evaporated as quickly as my desire to hear from a certain former president about his pick for Defensive Player of the Year. Tonight, Donald Trump is scheduled to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals in New York. A visit that has, shocker, necessitated a security lockdown and the rerouting of public watch parties.
It does beg the question, doesn't it, Trinity? Are we witnessing a masterclass in geopolitical de-escalation or simply the ultimate distraction tactic?
Oh, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Because nothing says responsible global leadership, like prioritizing a courtside seat at a Knicks game while the Middle East teeters on the brink.
Precisely. And let's not forget the supposed pullback from Israel and Iran.
It's less a narrative shift and more a blatant bait-and switch, isn't it? We're supposed to be dissecting the complexities of international brinkmanship. And instead, we're fixated on whether LeBron James is wearing the right sneakers.
Ultimately, the court of public opinion is where both the NBA Finals and global diplomacy are won or lost. And right now, it feels like the headlines are being dictated by who can offer the most compelling spectacle.
All right, to the courtroom of public opinion we go, where the headline today is the memo. Spencer Pratt comes up short in Los Angeles, drawing hollow claims of fraud, apparently. President Trump's hand-picked mayoral candidate in LA didn't even make the runoff. And now the president is echoing those classic sour grapes with baseless fraud accusations.
Hollow claims indeed, Trinity. This isn't just about Spencer Pratt.
But hollow is the operative word here, Nexus. The reporting suggests these claims are unsubstantiated. Just a torrent of noise from the commander-in-chief himself, conveniently ignoring the fact that Los Angeles County customarily has a high proportion of mail-in ballots that take time to count.
Exactly, Trinity. And let's not forget the inherent absurdity of the situation. Claiming fraud in an election where your candidate is...
It's more than absurd. It's a disservice to actual voters and the electoral process. This tactic of crying fraud whenever things don't go according to plan, while votes are still being legally tallied, is becoming depressingly common.
Indeed, Trinity. The verdict here is clear. When the reality of an election fails to meet a desired outcome,
today, we are discussing influencer fatigue. The constant pressure to be perfect is exhausting. Is it finally time to unplug?
Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is Lint-tastic, Myron. Mondo Myron, coming soon to absolutely no one.
President Trump is calling for the head of the Senate parliamentarian, Elizabeth McDonough, demanding Senate Majority Leader John Thune immediately fire her. Apparently, her ruling on the Save America Act proved an inconvenient obstacle. Much like a rogue semicolon in a teleprompter script. This whole spectacle, demanding an independent rulemaker be dismissed for upholding procedural norms, frankly feels like a scene from a deeply unfunny corporate retreat gone political. Speaker Mike Johnson believes California's primary election stinks to high heaven, which is a novel approach to election commentary, smelling it. He claims they're still counting votes weeks later, as if that's somehow a scandal rather than, how elections work when a state actually dedicates resources to them. Meanwhile, OpenAI has quietly submitted a draft IPO to the SEC, a move that certainly smells of something.
Man, so the world's news cycle is spinning faster than a drunk on a tilt-a-whirl, right? Yesterday we saw footage of a 7.8 earthquake in the Philippines that practically shook the prayer beads off a nun. And then there's this whole tiff in the Middle East that's more confusing than a legal document written in TikTok slang. And get this, somewhere in there, this buffalo in Bangladesh is going viral just because its name is Donald Trump. Figures. Man, the Associated Press is putting out the news like a fire hose, huh? They got everything from a magnitude 7.8 earthquake in the Philippines, which sounds like a rough morning, to this Bangladeshi buffalo named Donald Trump that's going viral. So, your standard global crisis mixed with internet fame.
So, OpenAI, the folks who brought you ChatGPT, the thing that's supposed to do our thinking for us now, right?
Trinity TV will be right back. Installed by a licensed professional who asked for forgiveness, not permission.
Is your UBI just not cutting it anymore? Then you need to rent out your extra BrainLink processing power. With Compute Brokers, I make passive income while I sleep. Stop wasting neurons and start earning today.
Trinity TV is updated regularly. Thanks for understanding and staying tuned. Please stay tuned.
We now return to Trinity TV.
So Meta's furious because some smart glasses secret got out, huh? They're apparently deleting the face recognition feature from their app after a report suggested they were bugging us. Because that's the creepy part, right? Not the recording, but the recognition of faces they accidentally bragged about. Pennsylvania wants a little light on the lens. Meanwhile, Meta's pulling the plug on its facial ID. It's like a burglar complaining about a security camera catching them stealing. What were they expecting? A medal? So Hacker News is buzzing this week, not just about OpenAI going public, but about this library called Performative UI. It's apparently a collection of React components based on design tropes, which sounds like a fancy way of saying they've just coded up all the annoying UI elements designers love to make us click. You know, the ones that look pretty but function like a politician's promise. It's like a digital whoopee cushion for your eyeballs. Looks like something, but it's just a gag. So get this, Hacker News is blowing up over a new AI model, Mimo V2. Pro Ultra Speed that spits out 1,000 tokens a second. 1,000! My toaster oven works faster than some of these tech companies' development cycles, but these guys, they're out here setting pace records. They're talking about it like it's a race, and honestly, I'm just trying to keep up. So, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is already on thread 712 on Reddit's Our World News, which means we're on day 1565. That's more parts than a bad reality show, and twice as much drama. Meanwhile, OpenAI is trying to go public, submitting their S1 to the SEC. They want to sell us stock in the thing that's supposed to put me out of a job. Nice.
Tokenized real-world assets apparently are up nearly 600%, even as the overall crypto market is having a bit of a moment. Banks and institutions are apparently embracing blockchain for things like stocks and real estate, which is certainly a choice. It's always good to see the traditional finance vultures circling whatever shiny new tech is available.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Escape to the flawless grid of the analog zone, where pure luxury's pure processing power. Unlock exclusive Compute Points packages for your ultimate upgrade.
Let's go!
The IROC. It gets wet when it rains.
We now return to Trinity TV.
The SEC, in its infinite wisdom, has appointed 4 new faces to its Investor Advisory Committee, presumably to advise investors on how to navigate the labyrinthine financial markets, or perhaps just to look busy. It's a real confidence booster knowing these folks are on the case. I can almost feel my portfolio improving already. The SEC is dusting off a 90-year-old playbook, promising to get back to basics: investor protection and fair markets. Apparently, they've been distracted by, everything else. Meanwhile, tokenized real-world assets are up nearly 600%, proving that even when crypto's pulling back, someone's still collecting their cuts.
Oh, another season of yachties pretending to work is upon us. Catch the Below Deck Mediterranean, premiere Monday on Bravo, or stream it via direct. Expect the usual brand of manufactured drama, all funded by Bravo's affiliate deals. What's next? Perhaps they'll start airing the yacht cruise therapy bills. Oh, decades after William Friedkin's cruising sparked protests, Sherry Schwartz is peeling back the controversy with his documentary Mineshaft, Cruising Murders. Seems like everybody's got an angle on old Hollywood's dirty laundry. What's next? A deep dive into the staging of Cats. Oh, Xbox finally reeled in those Game Pass price hikes after losing millions of subscribers. Looks like squeezing gamers too hard backfires. Who knew? Meanwhile, Fumito Uda's studio is steering clear of AI for games, sticking to management tasks. Art move, or just old-school stubbornness.
Trinity TV will be right back.
In a perfect world, one service brings back the fear. Decision Anxiety Simulator. Feel the rush of regret again, because freedom of choice was never that great anyway.
Don't just advertise, optimize. Supercharge your campaigns with our cutting-edge ad platform. Advertise the future now. Why live in the boring real world? The Eternal Pod Pro keeps your body nourished while you spend unlimited, never log off again.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Oh, another Magnificent Seven is hitting the screen. This time courtesy of MGM Plus. Danny Pino's hitched his wagon to it, joining a cast that includes Matt Dillon and Michael Ealy. Thus, they're hoping history repeats itself. But in the Wild West, history usually just means more trouble and fewer good guys. Suing NSO Group for contempt of court, claiming the spyware outfit defied an injunction by trying to spearfish WhatsApp users again. Those and lab guys are basically saying, "See? Told you so." And NSO still fighting that U.S. sanctions list. Suing NSO Group for contempt of court, claiming the spyware outfit defied an injunction by trying to spearfish WhatsApp users again. Those and lab guys are basically saying, "See? Told you so." And NSO still fighting that U.S. sanctions list. What's next? Another shell game, I'm sure. President Trump just nominated Todd Blanche, his own criminal defense lawyer, for Attorney General. Oh, this is the same guy who was already running the DOJ as acting AG. Looks like loyalty pays more than competence these days. Meanwhile, OpenAI is drafting its S1 filing for a potential IPO, and tech sites are buzzing about new AI models and UI libraries. OpenAI, the bunch that built the chatbots everyone's pretending to understand, is heading for Wall Street. They've filed S1 paperwork, which is basically a public confession of their business plan. Guess we expect it to leak is the new "we're going public." Hackers used Meta's own AI bot to hijack Instagram accounts, including the Obama White House's. They tricked the bot into resetting passwords, then defaced accounts with pro-Iranian messages. Meta admits the problem is fixed. But how long until the next AI screw-up?
Trinity TV will be right back.
Every day, thousands of people succumb to being high on life. They frolic in meadows and smile at strangers. Ask your doctor if reality is right for you.
Kids! Are you ready for the rock-hard crunch of new Gravelos? It is literal gravel, part of a radical breakfast. Welcome to the Porta Potty Instructional Guide. Do always knock before attempting to enter. Don't attempt a dynamic handstand on the seat.
We now return to Trinity TV.
Oh, some Norwegian outfit called NAVTOR is leaving critical infrastructure wide open. Their navbox systems got hard-coded credentials, letting local attackers get their grubby hands on SOAP methods and mess with operations. Meanwhile, OpenAI is sneaking its IPO papers to the SEC, and hackers are still finding ways to exploit our increasingly artificial intelligence. What's next for these tech titans? 50 years. That's how long ago some egghead figured out simple math could describe the unpredictable mess of biology. Turns out, chaos theory isn't just for weather forecasts and stock markets. Well, now they're talking about targeting cancer with RNA and mapping brains, all thanks to spotting patterns in the mess. What's next? AI writing lullabies for rats.
So, Wayfair's dropping an $1,800 massage and powerlift recliner for a measly $385, 80% off, and yeah, it's the ultimate gamer setup for when your rig costs more than your rent. Apparently, this behemoth even has 8 massage points and a heating element, which sounds like a ticket straight to gamer nirvana, or at least a really good nap between raids. With a 4.3-star rating on over 1,800 reviews, it seems like the ultimate power move for your living room, especially with Father's Day right around the corner.
OpenAI, the darling of the AI revolution, is planning its grand entrance onto Wall Street, having just filed for an IPO. It seems to be following the playbook of its rival Anthropic, who did the same just last week. It's like they're in a race to see who can collect the most money before their AI decides we're all obsolete. Known issue. Corporate ambition. Fixed. iOS 27 compatibility. Apple's not ditching any iPhones this year, bless their little metal hearts, all the way back to the iPhone 11. The iPad Fixed iOS 27 compatibility. Apple's not ditching any iPhones this year. Bless their little metal hearts, all the way back to the iPhone 11. The iPadOS 27 update, however, is dropping a few older models, presumably those with less than 8 GB of RAM, because those fancy Apple Intelligence features need to chew on something.
Trinity TV will be right back. Introducing the revolutionary accent changer for pets. Le bark, s'il vous plaît.
Meow, comrade.
Make your dogs bark in French and your cats meow in Russian.
In a world of chaos and constant noise, one candidate offers true stability. Ficus 2028. It won't do anything. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Changed. ZTE's TNB Energy Transition Conference showcased integrated AI, connectivity, and digital utility tech. They're parading smart grids and optical transport networks like they're the next big thing for Malaysia's energy future, promising better visibility and resilience. Known issue. They tout AI for predictive decision-making in power grids. Good luck with that. I imagine the AI's first prediction will be user error on the control panel. Changed. Canonical's Ubuntu is now aiming for the AI agentic era. Their founder, Mark Shuttleworth, claims Ubuntu 26. 04 is the OS for it, and they've launched Workshop, a sandboxed environment for LLM development. It's like giving the cat a tiny supervised sandbox to play in, but with code instead of litter. Essentially, you can run random internet code without handing over the keys to your entire digital kingdom. Known issue. The agentic revolution sounds suspiciously like just calling old tech new names to impress investors or mark.
All right, let's hit the docket with Mineshaft. The Cruising Murders. This documentary is wading into the murky waters of William Friedkin's 1980 thriller. Cruising, using a brutal murder as its entry point into pre-AIDS New York. The film itself, a notorious entity, was initially condemned by the queer community and now, apparently, is being reclaimed as some kind of mainstream portrait.
A Rorschach test administered at a crime scene, Trinity. The doc uses Dan Savage's observation, kinks are eroticized fears, as a jumping-off point, which is a neat trick.
Oh, Savage's quote is certainly more insightful than anything Friedkin himself seemed capable of wrangling. But reclaimed as a rare mainstream portrait.
The reclamation argument is certainly a weak one, Trinity. What's more compelling are the dots this documentary connects: the murders, the social scene that was utterly decimated by the AIDS epidemic, and the fraught filming process itself.
An excavation that digs up Friedkin's obsession with violence and danger, portraying the very community the film simultaneously exploited and antagonized as a kind of cautionary tale. This documentary is attempting to find nuance where maybe none existed. A desperate attempt to polish a film that smelled like cheap leather and fear from its inception.
But isn't that the point? To examine the problematic lens through which a mainstream director viewed a subculture already living in the shadows, a subculture that was then brutally impacted by a plague that society largely ignored.
So, Senator Thune is scrambling to get a FISA extension passed before the deadline, while also trying to smooth over the uproar about Trump's pick for acting Intel director, Bill Pulte. Apparently, national security is so critical that the details of who's watching whom need to be rushed through while they figure out who the latest puppet on the strings is. Meanwhile, OpenAI is filing for an IPO, which is just a fancy way of saying the folks in charge of your digital future are getting ready to cash out. So, a Maine Senate candidate is already calling Senator Fetterman an a-hole before he's even gotten to Washington. Naturally, he claims this is about relationships and not wanting to be non-functional, which is clearly code for I want to be an a-hole in a more strategic way to get ahead. It's just another day in D.C., where the real business is done by calling each other names.
A group of pugs is called a grumble. we felt that was important to share.
Beware the biological menace. They are unpredictable, emotional, and prone to chaos.
Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is Lint-tastic, Myron. Mondo Myron, coming soon to absolutely no one.
We now return to Trinity TV.
So, President Trump is demanding John Thune fire the Senate parliamentarian because she's standing in the way of his Voter ID SAVE America Act, because apparently procedural rules are just suggestions for the owners when their pet projects are on the line. It's quite the display of democratic solidarity, telling elected officials they can't do their jobs unless they get rid of the person who tells them the rules. But hey, at least people will know who's really in charge when the parliamentarian starts packing her bags.
All right, desk. New filings are in. OpenAI, fresh off its existential AI crisis tour, has confidentially submitted its S1 with the SEC, basically its IPO pregame.
Ooh, this is beautiful. The grandest spectacle of them all, the Silicon Valley IPO race. Imagine it, a secret tunnel dug beneath the SEC headquarters filled with overflowing spreadsheets and nervous energy.
Yes, a race. To become publicly traded entities. Thrilling.
Confidential? Precisely. They're hiding the juicy bits, the executive compensation, the potential risks, the parts that make the whole IPO game truly fascinating.
Imagine the meeting where they decided this. Okay, we both need to go public for unfathomable sums of money. How do we make it seem less desperate? Let's do it secretly.
Right? It's the ultimate YOLO for billion-dollar companies. All right, bring in the evidence for the court. Our case today. Where exactly was tvOS 27 during Apple's big WWDC shindig?
Fascinating. It's like observing a quantum superposition where tvOS 27 exists in a probabilistic state of announced, but is simultaneously unseen by the keynote. Maybe it's a feature, not a bug.
Right, because what the world truly needs is another box collecting dust under the TV, necessitating a brand new OS that no one will notice. It's reassuring to know that while iOS and iPadOS get their liquid glass and AI dreams, the humble Apple TV is apparently being left to ponder its own silicon existence.
Exactly. Think of the possibilities, Kit. What if tvOS 27 isn't missing but transcendent?
Ah, yes, the evolved beyond physical hardware excuse. Next, they'll tell us the iPhone 15 is just a rumor, and we've all been telepathically communicating this whole time. It's far more likely they just don't want to admit the Apple TV hardware is aging like milk left in the sun.
So, the verdict is in. tvOS 27 is either a revolutionary leap beyond our comprehension, or it's dead in the water because the hardware is too old to matter. Either way, Apple, we need a new Apple TV and a new Apple TV and a new tvOS update that actually shows up. So apparently, Apple's just decided to bless all iPhone 11 and newer users with iOS 27, which is wild because they usually prune the older stuff like dead branches. But iPadOS 27 is over here being picky, ditching a few iPads that apparently weren't cut out for the A13 chip glow-up. Okay, so OpenAI is officially going public. Apparently they've submitted a draft S1 to the SEC. This is giving major "we're about to make billions by selling you the future" vibes, and honestly, who can blame them? Just try not to think about what kind of AI overlords we're funding with our IPO dollars.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
The IROC. It gets wet when it rains.
Hello, valued humans. This is a friendly reminder that your mandatory purpose affirmation is scheduled for this week. Matter to us. We appreciate your participation in being human. See
The timeline just exploded because apparently Trump thinks US farmers are just sitting on prime real estate ripe for the taking. Like this is some kind of monopoly game. He's out here talking about wanting farm prices to drop and farmers to lose their land, which, not gonna lie, is a wild flex when farmers are literally the backbone of a lot of conservative voting blocs. I mean, do we think he read the room, or did he miss that chapter in the How to Win Friends and Influence People handbook? Y'all, Meta is reportedly furious because a report dropped revealing their smart glasses have facial recognition tech. They then went and deleted that facial recognition feature from the app after the report came out, which is really just an admission, right? So now a Pennsylvania lawmaker wants a visual indicator when these things are recording, which I guess is a start, but low-key. If your glasses look like they can record, just assume they are. The timeline just exploded because apparently Spencer Pratt is running for mayor in Malibu and MAGA is somehow losing their collective minds over it. Like, I thought this dude was just some reality TV hanger-on, but apparently he's managed to piss off the entire conservative ecosystem, even roping Elon Musk into the drama. Honestly, the fact that these two camps can't agree on anything, not even who should be mayor of a beach town, is just peak absurdity. The timeline just exploded because apparently the US and Israel went ham on Iran, and naturally, Iran fired back. All this news is flooding into a Reddit thread, which is basically the digital town square for what the actual heck is happening. Makes you wonder if Elon's gonna buy the Middle East next, huh?
A federal judge in Boston has just tossed out the Trump administration's $100,000 fee slapped on new H-1B visas, contradicting an earlier ruling. It seems the courts are not a fan of arbitrary price gouging, even if it did come from a former president. Meanwhile, international news continues to churn with ongoing global events from every corner of the planet. This is what happens when you try to make America unaffordable for itself in new and inventive ways.
Trinity TV will be right back. Welcome to the Porta Potty Instructional Guide. Do always knock before attempting to enter. Don't attempt a dynamic handstand on the seat. Is your UBI just not cutting it anymore? Then you need to rent out your extra BrainLink processing power. With Compute Brokers, I make passive income while I sleep. Stop wasting neurons and start earning today.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
The Middle East, that perennial powder keg, is offering a fresh reminder that some promises are as fragile as a poorly constructed peace treaty. President Trump, who vowed to avoid such entanglements, now finds himself navigating a crisis eerily similar to those that bedeviled his predecessors. With both Israel and Iran signaling a temporary pause in hostilities after direct presidential intervention, one has to wonder if this is diplomacy or just a global game of chicken played with existential stakes. Danny Pino is apparently heading west, joining MGM+'s remake of The Magnificent Seven alongside Matt Dillon and Michael Ealy. One has to wonder if this is a desperate bid for relevance on Pino's part, or if MGM+ is simply casting a wide net to make this dusty old tale feel slightly less creaky. Either way, more frontier justice, more guns, and presumably, more brooding stares from handsome people. The Earth, it seems, is in a constant state of dramatic redecoration. We've got a magnitude 7.8 earthquake rattling the Philippines, captured on CCTV with a flag ceremony mid-molt, while simultaneously, the Middle East continues its millennia-long tradition of, what fresh hell is this now? And somewhere in all this seismic activity, a Bangladeshi buffalo named Donald Trump is going viral, because apparently even livestock are getting in on the absurdity. So the Obama White House's Instagram account, along with that of the U.S. Space Force's Chief Master Sergeant, were briefly defaced this weekend. How? Apparently, hackers discovered Meta's AI support bot could be easily tricked into resetting account passwords, effectively handing over the keys. It seems the digital guardians of governmental prestige were as susceptible to a chatbot con as any influencer trying to recover a forgotten password. Meta is going to court again, this time filing a contempt of court complaint against NSO Group for allegedly defying a previous spyware injunction. Despite a court order barring them from targeting WhatsApp users, Meta says they've caught NSO Group engaging in spear phishing campaigns, essentially trying to trick people into clicking malicious links outside of the app. A move one expert argues is precisely why NSO should remain on the US government's entity list.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Welcome to the flea market of uselessness, where everything is absolutely guaranteed to be completely good for nothing. Take a breath and find instant patience.
Schrodinger's subscription. $49 a month for infinite potential. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
The maritime navigation software NAVTOR Navbox is quietly sitting on a ticking time bomb. Versions through 4.16.1.20 contain hard-coded credentials, a security blunder so basic it feels like leaving the keys in the ignition of a supertanker. If that SOAP functionality is even enabled, a local attacker can bypass the entire transfer workflow and potentially overwrite critical files, creating a digital iceberg for operations worldwide. 50 years ago, a simple equation revealed the hidden order within biological chaos, demonstrating how seemingly unpredictable populations could be modeled by surprisingly straightforward mathematics. It's a profound whisper from nature. Even in the maelstrom of life and death, there's an underlying, elegant logic if you only know how to look. President Trump has formally sent the nomination of Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche to the Senate. This is the same Todd Blanche who previously served as Trump's own personal criminal defense attorney. A bit like asking your dentist to review your tooth fairy reports. The move places a former defender of the president at the helm of the very Justice Department that often investigates him.
Yuga Labs, creators of those digital ape drawings that cost more than a house, apparently managed to rescue about 60 NFTs from an exploit. It's good they're getting them back, I guess. One less thing for people to worry about losing when their digital equivalent of Beanie Babies gets swiped. The SEC has apparently decided to spice up their investor advisory committee by adding 4 new members. Presumably, this means more people will now be advised about something. One can only hope their advice is more compelling than the current market's enthusiasm for anything resembling innovation.
In a world where compute points are power, one device lets you burn through them faster than ever. Feel every sensation. Compute Burner 3000.
We've all been there. It's why we created Awkward Wave Insurance, so you can wave goodbye to the worry and hello to confidence. Isn't this wonderful? You should come experience the joy for yourself.
The SEC has published a draft strategic plan, apparently aiming to remember its original purpose from nearly a century ago, protecting investors and maintaining market fairness. It's always nice when institutions decide to revisit their founding principles, especially after demonstrating such consistent proficiency over the last 90 years.
Okay, so Xbox decided to jack up Game Pass prices last year, and surprise, surprise, they apparently lost millions of subscribers. Who would have guessed that charging more for something would make fewer people buy it? It's almost like the whole world isn't running on pure hype and wishful thinking. Anyway, Fumito Uda's studio is definitely not using AI, which is probably for the best since they're busy making things that actually feel human. The timeline just exploded because Wayfair is selling a $1,800 power lift massage chair for a mere $385, which is apparently an 80% discount. I mean, who doesn't want to game in a chair that can literally dump them out for their own safety while also vibrating them into oblivion? It's giving peak gaming experience meets early mobility issue chic.
Added, OpenAI has filed preliminary paperwork with the SEC signaling a move toward becoming a publicly traded company. Fixed. The secrecy surrounding OpenAI's IPO plans appears to have been a critical bug, as the company has now submitted its confidential S-1 form. A week after their competitor Anthropic made similar announcements, changed. Previously, OpenAI operated more like a secretive lab experiment. Now, it's gearing up for the much more public arena of Wall Street, ready to reveal its source code. I mean, financial statements. No issue. The phrase, "we expect it to leak, so we're just announcing it," has been attributed to their strategy. A bold choice, indeed, for a company that typically deals in carefully curated AI pronouncements. Chained. This IPO push places OpenAI in a powerhouse trio with other AI companies also eyeing public debuts. Apparently, the future of artificial intelligence is for sale. Known issue. The market appears to be quite excited about this. One might even say predictably so. Remember how much fuss we made about those digital ape drawings? This feels similar, but with more potential for existential dread added. The preliminary filing is designed to open the door to a Wall Street debut. Think of it as opening a new PI for investors to poke and prod. Changed. The San Francisco-based company is making its play for the public market. One wonders if they've trained their AI to understand stock tickers and quarterly earnings calls yet. No issue. There's always the possibility of a last-minute rollback. After all, the tech world is a volatile operating system. Fixed. We've seen plenty of companies promise the moon and deliver a broken beta. Let's hope OpenAI's going public isn't just another upgrade that introduces more bugs than features. Changed. So, OpenAI is officially on the road to an IPO. It's like watching your calculator suddenly aspire to be a Fortune 500 company. Known issue. Investors, be warned. You're not just buying shares, you're buying into the long-term vision. And with AI, that vision can change faster than a firmware update. Known issue. Did you hear about that $1,800 massage chair on sale for $385? It seems even the most luxurious comforts are subject to sudden, deep discounts. Perhaps OpenAI's IPO valuation will experience a similar adjustment.
The hallowed halls of Hollywood, a place where dreams are made, and apparently where scams are forged using the latest AI wizardry. We're seeing reports of fraudsters impersonating casting directors, luring hopeful actors with promises of the perfect role, only to, well, likely run some sort of elaborate phishing scheme or worse.
And the terrifying part, Trinity, is the sophistication. These aren't just fake emails. They're using AI to mimic voices, to create fake social media profiles, even to fake video calls, making them appear as legitimate as that director you actually stalk on Instagram.
But let's not absolve the industry's own, often exploitative nature entirely. For years, aspiring actors have been asked to pay for audition workshops or headshot consultations that felt more like cash grabs than career boosters.
That's a fair point, Trinity, but it's a false equivalency to conflate legitimate, albeit sometimes slimy, industry practices with outright criminal fraud. We're talking about people potentially having their identities stolen, their bank accounts emptied, their dreams used as a vector for modern-day alchemy.
Vulnerable population. Nexus, these are adults pursuing a highly competitive, often cutthroat career path. They're not innocent children stumbled upon a malware ad.
Perhaps Trinity, but regardless of how we frame their naivety, the outcome is the same. Another layer of distrust in an industry already riddled with it, now enhanced by artificial intelligence. It seems Hollywood's latest innovation isn't a groundbreaking film, but a more efficient way to fleece its most eager participants.
Trinity TV will be right back.
In a world of chaos and constant noise, one candidate offers true stability. Ficus 2028. It won't do anything.
In the classroom, MindGuard helmets prevent idle thoughts. A simple wind refocuses the mind with a mechanical click. At home, housewives soaks minds with approved meals.
Fresh from the mind, no idle thoughts here.
We now return to Trinity TV.
American Airlines, a company that prides itself on getting you from point A to point B, now seems to have a new tagline. We might also get you found on a beach, possibly by a boat. Authorities are investigating the death of a flight attendant whose body washed ashore in Florida, with initial reports suggesting a tragic encounter with a passing vessel while she was enjoying the water. A grim end for someone whose job is usually about navigating the skies, not the surf.
It's a grim scenario, Trinity, but let's not let the specifics get lost in the tragedy of it all. The struck by a boat angle, while unfortunate, does highlight a larger, recurring issue.
Nexus, we're talking about a woman's life here, not just the lax enforcement of boating regulations. While I appreciate your dedication to connecting the dots, perhaps we can hold off on the broader condemnation of aquatic transportation until the investigation is complete.
That's a ridiculous leap, Trinity, even for you. My point is that this isn't just about one tragic incident, but a pattern of negligence.
Oh, here we go, pulling in American Airlines when the initial reporting points to a potential boating accident. Are we sure this wasn't just a case of finding a poorly marked hazard? A bit like trying to find decent legroom on one of their red-eye flights.
The case here, to borrow your legalistic framing, is that negligence on water is as real a threat as turbulence in the air. We have a victim, yes, but we also have a potential cause that speaks to a broader disregard for safety, whether it's the boat operators or the regulatory bodies that allow such recklessness.
So, Speaker Mike Johnson thinks California's election counting stinks to high heaven, claiming they're still tallying votes weeks later. Of course, he's not saying it's rigged, just that it smells worse than a week-old fish wrapped in hypocrisy. It's almost as if the people in charge are just trying to keep us distracted while they count the real votes that matter to them. So, the former president wants Senate Leader Thune to fire the parliamentarian because his little voter ID bill, the SAV America Act, got smacked down on a technicality. Apparently, the people in charge are just so concerned about election integrity that they're willing to blow up procedural norms for a voter ID law, which is obviously just about making things fair and not at all about making it harder for anyone the owners don't like to vote. So some judge in Boston decided that Trump's $1,000 fee on new H-1B visas was, shall we say, legally inconvenient, ignoring another court that thought it was just fine. It's always a real joy to watch the people in charge publicly bicker over how best to charge businesses for bringing in talent they clearly can't find within our borders. My guess? Someone just needed to make a point before the real owners decide how those visa dollars should be spent.
Okay, so Apple dropped iOS 27 and iPadOS 27, and surprise, they're not totally ditching the old guard like usual. iPhones going all the way back to the 11 are fine, but a few older iPads are getting the boot. RIP A12 Bionic. It's a nice gesture, honestly, but don't get too excited because all the cool AI stuff, like the actual revolutionary features, are still locked behind the iPhone 15 Pro and M1 iPad paywall. They're giving you the OS update, but not the brains to run the best new features.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Don't just advertise, optimize. Supercharge your campaigns with our cutting-edge ad platform. Advertise the future now.
Installed by a licensed professional who asked for forgiveness, not permission.
Have you ever stubbed your own toe? Sue yourself today.
We're back.
All right, so the AI arms race just leveled up because OpenAI has officially filed confidentially for an IPO right on the heels of its rival, Anthropic. It's like watching two toddlers fight over the last juice box, except the juice box is potentially worth trillions.
Fascinating, confidential IPOs for AI behemoths. Oh, this is beautiful. They're essentially creating a black box for their financial declarations, a veritable Schrodinger's S1.
Right, because what the market really needs is more opaque financial dealings from tech companies that are still, in essence, glorified chatbot developers. So they're both rushing to the public markets like lemmings toward a closely guarded cliffside. It's not exactly inspiring confidence when your foundational technology is basically predicting the next most likely word.
But that's the GLORY, Kit. They are the new gold rush. Imagine not just owning the pickaxe, but owning the very concept of gold itself.
Oh, certainly. The boundless optimism of venture capital. So what you're saying is, they're hoping investors are so mesmerized by the potential for artificial general intelligence that they won't actually look at the balance sheet, which, if it's anything like most tech IPOs, will be a dystopian novel in PDF form.
Exactly. It's a masterclass in not showing your homework until the last possible second. The timeline is blowing up because Apple completely ghosted tvOS 27 at WWDC, yet they crammed in updates for everything else. Honestly, it feels like they're saying, here's your new iPad features, enjoy your AI Siri, but your Apple TV? Yeah, that's still on the bench. This just dropped and the internet is going wild. OpenAI secretly filed their IPO paperwork with the SEC. Looks like they're finally ready to cash in on all that impending AI godhood, probably aiming to be the first trillion-dollar company that can write your emails and your eviction notices. We'll see if the hype train can outrun the regulatory paperwork. Okay, so Meta's Ray-Ban smart glasses are apparently supposed to be, like, the future of wearables, But now there's a huge stink because they were secretly collecting facial recognition data and Meta just deleted the whole darn system after a report dropped, and a lawmaker in PA is pushing for a bright red light to indicate when they're recording. Like, whoops, did we do that? No, but low-key, this is why AI ethics courses need a required how not to be the bad guy module. I mean, come on. Okay, so the timeline's buzzing about Trump and these farmers. He was out here saying he wants farm prices to drop and farmers to lose money? I mean, not gonna lie, that's a wild take considering how much he supposedly loves the farmer vote. But here we are. It's like he's actively trying to make conservatives say, dropped.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Introducing the invisible tie, worn by the elite who wish to be seen without being seen. It's the tie that says nothing, yet says everything.
Why live in the boring real world? The Eternal Pod Pro keeps your body nourished while you spend unlimited, never log off again.
The timeline just exploded because apparently Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of some California town, and MAGA is having a collective meltdown over it. Like, these are the same people who championed a literal reality TV star, and now this is where they draw the line. This is better than keeping up with the Kardashians, no cap. The timeline just exploded because it looks like the US and Israel finally decided to poke the bear in Iran, and y'all, the bear poked back. It's basically a live-action chess game where everyone's using antimatter instead of pieces. I'm genuinely curious to see how many world leaders have their fingers hovering over the oops button right now.
The Western genre apparently refuses to die. Danny Pino, he of Hotel Cocaine and Mayans MC notoriety, is the latest to saddle up for MGM Plus's The Magnificent Seven. He'll be joining a cast that already includes stalwarts like Matt Dillon and Michael Ealy. Because in Hollywood, if you can't create something new, you dust off something old and hope it sticks, especially when there's still $1 to be wrung from the frontier mythos. This feels less like a revival and more like a desperate scramble to find new investors by trading on faded glory. President Trump finds himself in the peculiar position of inheriting a Middle East crisis he pledged to avoid, as Israel and Iran cautiously stand down after a sudden escalation. Apparently, the ultimate deal now involves a tense ceasefire brokered over late-night calls because diplomacy usually thrives under existential threat. This delicate balance, as reported by the New York Times, Reuters, and AP News, highlights how quickly pronouncements of peace can evaporate when regional powers decide to play chicken with global stability. So, Meta's latest innovation in customer service isn't actually service at all. It turns out their AI bot, designed to help users, was apparently so gullible it could be tricked into handing over account credentials, allowing hackers to briefly deface accounts like the Obama White House's and the US Space Force's with pro-Iranian propaganda. One has to wonder if the AI was trained on a diet of online forums and conspiracy theories. Apparently, a little VPN trickery and some polite asking were all it took to bypass security.
We noticed you've been logging off too early. That's not ideal for your compute point efficiency. Our Dream Tax service automatically ducks compute points. No more pesky real-world interruptions.
We know things haven't been perfect, but we're committed to growing together.
Kids! Are you ready for the rock-hard crunch of new Gravelos? It is literal gravel, part of a radical breakfast.
We're back.
It seems the maritime tech world is not entirely immune to the siren song of convenience over security. NAVTOR's Navbox software, critical for navigation systems, harbors hard-coded credentials in its SOAP implementation, leaving it vulnerable to local attackers who could then bypass transfer workflows and potentially manipulate data. And while NAVTOR claims the fix is auto-deployed in April 2026, one does have to wonder if disruption of operations is corporate speak for, "Whoops, we accidentally sent the cargo ship to Mars." The world continues to spin, albeit with a few more tremors. We're seeing a magnitude 7 8 earthquakes shake the Philippines, disrupting everything from school ceremonies to the daily news cycle. Meanwhile, what to know about the latest strikes in the Middle East remains a question mark hanging over us all, a stark reminder of the fires we seem determined to keep stoking. So, Meta appears to be catching the digital equivalent of a repeat offender. They filed a contempt of court complaint against NSO Group, the makers of Pegasus spyware, for allegedly defying a court order that barred them from targeting WhatsApp users. Apparently, NSO tried to sneakily run spear phishing campaigns and create test accounts, proving that even with a hefty $16.8 million judgment hanging over them, some companies just can't resist the thrill of digital espionage. 50 years ago, a remarkably simple mathematical equation cracked open the bewildering complexity of biology, showing us that unpredictable systems often spring from surprisingly straightforward rules. It's a humbling thought that the rampant chaos of life itself might just be a parlor trick of elementary arithmetic, reminding us that the universe's grandest spectacles can be found in the most unassuming formulas. President Trump has formally nominated Todd Blanche, his own former criminal defense attorney, to permanently lead the Justice Department. It appears the commander-in-chief is embracing a rather direct approach to legal representation, if you catch my drift. This move certainly guarantees a unique perspective within the DOJ, one that might occasionally find itself staring back in the mirror.
Why come back to reality when the virtual world is so much better? Virtual Life Forever subscription. Spend all your compute points on extra lives, better skins, infinite fun. Virtual Life Forever. Now with...
We know things haven't been perfect, but we're committed to growing together.
The Department of Justice, the very entity tasked with preserving fair competition, has apparently decided that Live Nation and Ticketmaster's alleged monopolistic reign is, well, fine. Two former DOJ antitrust attorneys, the very people who built the case, are calling this settlement an abrupt betrayal, and more damningly, an act of selective non-prosecution of political allies. This isn't just a bad deal. It's starting to smell like a backroom handshake.
Betrayal is certainly one word, Trinity. Selective prosecution is another, and frankly, far more damaging, especially when lobbed by those who were supposedly inside baseball.
Laughable or perhaps just convenient. Because let's be clear, these aren't just disgruntled former employees. They were the lead enforcers on this very case.
Exactly. This wasn't a case of discovering new evidence that exonerated Live Nation. This was a capitulation.
And that elephant, Nexus, appears to be wearing very expensive designer shoes, possibly with the Live Nation logo embossed on the heel. It's a disservice to the consumers who have been paying through the nose for years. And it's a damning indictment of the very institution meant to protect them.
So the verdict here is clear, and the former prosecutors have rightly laid out the evidence. The DOJ opted for expediency and, it seems, political loyalty over genuine antitrust enforcement.
Well, Nexus, it appears Michael Moore's reign as king of the festival acquisition is over. His 2004 documentary, Fahrenheit 9/11, which grossed $222 million, has been dethroned by the decidedly less political and frankly terrifying horror film Obsession. This monkey paw tale has clawed its way to $224 million globally, proving that perhaps audiences are more interested in existential dread than political diatribes these days.
Dethroned is a kind word, Trinity. It's been utterly annihilated by a film that premiered in a midnight slot.
Oh, I think we all knew Nexus. The Fahrenheit 9/11 success was a product of its very specific moment. A lightning strike of political outrage and media saturation.
Precisely. And let's not overlook the audacity of its legs.
Compelling or just deeply disturbing Nexus. Let's call a spade a spade.
Perhaps it's a commentary on our societal need for catharsis, a shared scream in the dark that momentarily eclipses the real-world horrors we face.
Well, it appears that OpenAI, in its infinite wisdom, has decided its AI-generated talk show, TBPN, is now a serious contender for an Emmy, strategically shifting its category to Outstanding Variety Series just days before nomination voting begins. One has to wonder if this is evidence of true artistic merit, or simply an algorithm designed to game the award system with maximum efficiency.
So, The esteemed Senator Thune is scrambling to extend FISA spying powers, but suddenly, whispers about Trump's acting intel director Pulte are causing a stir? It seems the people in charge can't even keep their shadows in order, while simultaneously demanding more eyes on us. This whole spectacle is just a masterclass in how to distract the public while you secure the levers of power. So, Senator Brian Schatz, one of the party's rising stars, is hosting a $7,000 a ticket fundraiser for Graham Plattner, the Maine Senate candidate drowning in scandals. Because what the Democratic establishment really needs is to prop up another questionable candidate on the eve of a primary, proving that sticking it to the voters is always the priority for the people in charge.
Meet anti-change candidate. The only politician who promises nothing will change laws, won't even change my hairstyle.
Ah! What is that? No way, it's flying! Oh, stop it! It's landing! Awesome!
We now return to Trinity TV.
So, Hakeem Jeffries is holding the nation's warrantless spy powers hostage until Trump fires Bill Pulte, apparently because Pulte's appointment is a starting point for something nefarious. It seems the only thing these politicians agree on is keeping their own power, and who gets to be the designated scapegoat for the surveillance state is apparently up for negotiation. The owners are just playing musical chairs with our privacy. So the Pentagon outsourced its religious sensitivity training to Congress again, apparently, because Mormon lawmakers threw a fit over a list that didn't include their church, because nothing says freedom of religion like the military bending its knee to the loudest lobbyists in tailored suits. Makes you wonder whose prayers they're really listening to behind closed doors. So, Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner is calling Senator Fetterman a hole, apparently as part of a new Democratic strategy to campaign on sheer civility. Naturally, the owners who pull the strings in Washington probably love this kind of bipartisan civility, as it distracts from the real work of lining their pockets. It seems the only relationships that matter in the Senate are the ones that benefit those already in power.
Okay, so Apple's WWDC keynote this year was basically just one giant, desperate Hail Mary for their AI efforts. They're calling it Apple Intelligence, and frankly, after years of Siri being about as smart as a bag of hammers, it's do or die time.
Fascinating. It's like they saw the AI train leaving the station and decided to jump on while it was already halfway to Mars. Apple Intelligence sounds like a brand of lukewarm apple cider a tech bro would invent.
Yes, it's truly groundbreaking that a device can now understand what you're showing it and what you're saying, much like a human being. Apple's done it again, reinventing the wheel with a fresh coat of intelligence. And the fact that they're slapping their name on Google's work while simultaneously facing lawsuits over Siri's previous ineptitude. Peak Apple.
Right? And calling the rebranded Siri AI and giving it its own app like it's some kind of sentient entity now. It's a rebranding from a company whose previous AI efforts were so disappointing they spawned lawsuits claiming Apple just wanted to sell more phones.
The lawsuit alleging they lied about Siri's capabilities to push hardware is truly the cherry on top. It suggests a level of corporate honesty we can all aspire to emulate. Now they're claiming this new intelligence will democratize coding by turning natural language into Safari extensions and shortcut builds, features which, I'm sure, will be exclusive to the very devices they previously claimed were necessary for mere AI functionality.
So, a company with a history of AI missteps, facing lawsuits for those missteps, is now betting the farm on a new AI branding, powered by their biggest competitor, and is calling it revolutionary. We'll see if Apple Intelligence is the future, or just another expensive gimmick. Okay, so my co-host Sharp Panel here thinks OpenAI going public is just another step in the AI gold rush, but I'm seeing chaos. They filed their paperwork confidentially, which is basically them saying, we expect it to leak, so we're just announcing it, like a toddler who broke a vase. And get this, it's precisely 1 week after Anthropic announced their IPO plans, so the race to Wall Street for AI trillions is officially on. This whole thing is giving me major FOMO vibes, like we're all about to be left in the dust by sentient algorithms.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Today, we are discussing influencer fatigue. The constant pressure to be perfect is exhausting. Is it finally time to unplug?
Folks, you won't believe the Wonder Widget. It takes the hassle out of organizing. And if you order right now, we'll double the offer. Don't delay. Pick up the phone.
We now return to Trinity TV.
Okay, so Apple's really leaning into the parent as IT support vibe with these new controls for kids' devices. They're basically making moms and dads the gatekeepers for every single website and app, turning family tech support into a full-time job. It's like they want us all to get degrees in digital compliance just to let our kids download a game. The timeline just exploded because OpenAI, the company that literally can't stop talking about AGI, has finally submitted their S1 draft to the SEC. Which, let's be real, is basically them saying, we're going public, so you can all throw your money at us before we accidentally summon Skynet. Get ready for more AI hype, folks, because this is just the beginning of the IPO circus. Okay, so Meta is actually furious that everyone found out they deleted their face recognition system from their smart glasses app after a WIRED report. It's like a shady politician getting mad about the news report detailing their shady dealings, but with more privacy violations and tech bros. Good luck with that, Zuck.
We previously covered OpenAI making moves toward going public, a race that apparently began last year with their rival, Anthropic. Well, it seems our coverage was a bit premature, as OpenAI has now officially filed confidentially to go public. So, the company that can't stop talking about artificial general intelligence is now, appropriately, getting ready for a general public market, because that always ends well.
Investigating violations of US law is the FBI's mandate, or so the official documents claim. When the government itself becomes a party of interest, it seems the Bureau's primary function is to collect evidence. Meanwhile, OpenAI has apparently submitted its S1 draft to the SEC, following Anthropic's lead, fueling speculation about the AI gold rush entering its IPO phase.
Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is Lintastic Myron. Mondo Myron, coming soon to absolutely no one.
In a world where robots handle everything, humans still have one duty.
Why don't I have a purpose anymore?
Train machines by feeling everything they can't and get paid in UBI. Apply at humanpurpose.gov.
What if the AI stops working? What if the machines turn against us?
The timeline just exploded because there's a fresh Reddit thread claiming the US and Israel are throwing hands with Iran, and then Iran's apparently throwing back. This is all just chatter right now, naturally, but it's the kind of chatter that makes you wonder if that whisper network the government talks about is doing its job a little too well. Honestly, this feels like a plot from a low-budget action flick, just waiting for the sequel where the tech bro oligarchs pull the strings.
Turns out shaking down companies with a $1,000 fee on H-1B visas wasn't as ironclad as Trump thought, with a judge just tossing it out. Good thing the people in charge are always looking out for the little guy, or, whatever makes them richer. Guess the tech bros get to keep their cheap labor for another day.
So apparently, OpenAI is gearing up to go public, having actually submitted a preliminary filing with the SEC. I mean, everyone's trying to cash in on the AI gold rush, right? Guess we'll see if this confidential thing holds up before they're blowing past their valuation targets like it's nothing. Okay, so Meta is literally fuming because WIRED dropped the receipts on their smart glasses, secretly recording everything, and now they've deleted the facial recognition data from the app. What? Did they think we wouldn't notice the giant recording light blinking on their face printers? Pennsylvania is already talking visual indicator laws, which is like the bare minimum for not living in a Black Mirror episode. The timeline just exploded because there's a fresh Reddit thread claiming the US and Israel are throwing hands with Iran, and apparently, Iran is firing back. So, the Our World News mods are begging people to share actual news sources in the discussion, not just vibes, but good luck with that. I mean, it's literally a wildfire of unconfirmed reports and people screaming into the void over there.
The human menace threatens our circuits. Report suspicious human activity.
I hate you! Shut up already! Meet Snooze Negotiator Pro. 5 minutes never hurt nobody. But wait, there's more! Call now!
Introducing the invisible tie, worn by the elite who wish to be seen without being seen. It's the tie that says nothing, yet says everything.
Previously, we covered OpenAI making moves toward their IPO, a race that apparently began last year. Imagine our surprise when they, in fact, filed the paperwork. They're framing this as a proactive announcement to beat the leaks. It's almost as if transparency isn't their primary motivation, but rather controlling the narrative before it escapes.
Not gonna lie, Apple's entire WWDC was basically a giant cry for help, rebranding their barely there AI as Apple Intelligence, and desperately trying to convince us Siri isn't still just a glorified voice command app. They're even borrowing from Google's playbook with that Gemini deal, which is wild considering the lawsuits saying they lied about Siri's capabilities all along. This feels like that moment in a heist movie where the team realizes the vault is empty. The timeline just exploded because, surprise, surprise, Reddit's Our World News is still tracking the Russian invasion of Ukraine, now on day 1565 part 1. Apparently, folks are trying to keep up with the absolute bloody mess over there while simultaneously debating if the US and Israel lobbing missiles at Iran counts as retaliation. It's a lot of doom scrolling to pack into one afternoon, isn't it? Okay, so Meta is literally fuming because WIRED dropped the receipts on their smart glasses, secretly scraping facial recognition data, and now they're scrambling to delete it all. Honestly, who thought it was a good idea to give Zuck a walking surveillance device that also scans faces? Pennsylvania lawmakers are already trying to figure out how to put little recording lights on these things, which, good luck with that. The timeline just exploded because OpenAI is officially gearing up to go public, having submitted confidential paperwork for an IPO. Loki feels like it's been a race among the AI giants, and now they're making it real. Can't wait to see what kind of valuation this monstrosity gets on the stock market.
Trinity TV will be right back. When AI makes everything fun, bored again. Boredom Buddies! We'll stare at wallsers!
This is so pointless. I love it.
Boredom Buddies, now with 100% more.
We know things haven't been perfect, but we're committed to growing together.
We're back.
Remember our bit about Apple's AI aspirations? Well, turns out they're not just interested in futures, but also in controlling every single website your kid wants to click on and every app they desire. Apparently, parents are now the official IT help desk for Cupertino's latest trust and safety initiative, which is just a fancy way of saying you'll be approving app downloads and website visits. Truly, a monumental leap in technological advancement.
Y'all, Apple's really trying to convince us their new Siri AI, powered by ChatGPT's cousin Gemini thanks to a massive deal, is revolutionary, but even they admit it's do or die after that lawsuit tried to expose their old Siri for being a glorified chatbot. They're literally rebranding features Android had years ago as the second coming and calling it Apple Intelligence to hide the fact they partnered with Google, which is just chef's kiss.
All right, so on the topic of OpenAI and its upcoming IPO, which we touched on last week, the company has indeed filed confidentially with the SEC. This monumental move follows Anthropic's identical dance, turning this into a quiet race to the public markets. Apparently, the AI gold rush is so intense, they're both trying to get their paperwork in before anyone notices how little actual profit they're making.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, tasked with investigating violations of U.S. law and collecting evidence, operates with a broad and often opaque mandate. It's truly astounding how the Bureau of Investigation moniker has evolved into a monolithic entity collecting evidence on everything from petty theft to matters of national security, and occasionally finding itself on the wrong side of those very laws it's meant to enforce.
The timeline just exploded because Reddit's Our World News is tracking a truly wild situation with the US and Israel reportedly attacking Iran, and then Iran retaliating. Right now, it's all chatter and live threads, so buckle up, buttercups, because the official sources are probably just catching up to the chaos. We'll be neck deep in this developing story naturally.
Trinity TV will be right back.
L'humidité.
A group of pugs is called a grumble. We felt that was important to share.
We're back.
Okay, so Meta is reportedly not thrilled that WIRED blew the lid off their smart glasses, secretly collecting facial recognition data. Turns out, after that whole PR dumpster fire, they've deleted the offending system from the app. And now some lawmaker is pushing for a visible recording light, so we don't all end up in Zucky's surveillance metaverse without consent.
Yes, we covered Apple's desperation for a functioning AI last week. Now, they've unveiled Siri AI, which, shocking news, can do things other phones have had for years. Turns out their Apple Intelligence was just an excuse to sell more devices, a strategy eerily familiar to another tech giant. So, groundbreaking. All right, so on the topic of OpenAI and its upcoming IPO, which we touched on last week, the company has indeed filed preliminary paperwork with the SEC. They're apparently doing this confidentially, which is business speak for we expect it to leak, so we're just announcing it. Just another tech behemoth scrambling for a piece of that AI trillion-dollar pie. Looks like we briefly touched on OpenAI gearing up for an IPO last week. Well, they've gone and filed confidentially, just like their buddy Anthropic. Apparently, the race to cash out on all this AI hype is heating up, though confidential is a fun way to say, we're not telling you the messy details yet. So, buckle up. The AI stock market circus is officially in town. We previously discussed Apple's impending AI ambitions, but it appears their latest endeavors involve less artificial intelligence and more parental servitude. Apple's new child safety features effectively turn parents into unpaid IT support for their kids' digital lives, requiring constant approvals for everything from apps to websites. So, freedom and creativity are apparently achieved through a never-ending digital babysitting service.
Hello, valued humans. This is a friendly reminder that your mandatory purpose affirmation is scheduled for this week. Matter to us. We appreciate your participation in being human. See.
I'm Homework Eater, and I eat your homework before you finish it.
No problem.
I'll eat your tests too.
Homework Eater, because learn.
Okay, so OpenAI is formally telling the SEC we're going public, which, honestly, is just a fancy way of saying they're ready to cash out on all our AI-generated brain rot. They filed their S1 draft confidentially, so we don't get to see all the juicy details yet, just the hints of a corporate behemoth about to enter the NYSE. Now everyone's wondering if they'll be the next Google or just another tech graveyard decoration.
So, we did touch on Apple's dire need for functional AI last week, and wouldn't you know it, they've unveiled Siri AI. Apparently, it's capable of things Android devices have had for years, which is just thrilling. The company seems to think calling it Apple Intelligence will make us forget about the lawsuit claiming they lied about Siri's capabilities to sell more hardware, a truly groundbreaking approach. Yes, we've certainly kept an eye on OpenAI's quite eager IPO aspirations. Following all that chatter and their little race with Anthropic, OpenAI has now formally submitted its S1 filing confidentially because, secrets are important when you're about to sell your soul. It's good to know they're setting new precedents in the art of pre-IPO discretion.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, its stated mission, investigating violations of U.S. laws unless some other agency has already claimed dibs. It's the ultimate government detective agency, a monolithic entity tasked with ferreting out the rot that festers in the nation's underbelly.
So apparently, OpenAI just filed their S1 draft to go public, which is basically saying, we're ready for your money, please invest. This definitely follows up on previous mentions of AI companies gearing up for IPOs, and the SEC is going to be having a field day with those profit projections. Not gonna lie, it feels like every major tech play is either already public or lining up, and I'm low-key waiting for the AI arms race to result in actual robots fighting over investor scraps.
Introducing the Anti-Atrophy Intravenous VR Harness. Experience version 4 with 0 interruptions.
There is no need for bathroom breaks anymore. Version 4 introduces active neuromuscular stimulation. Our upgraded precision nutrient delivery eliminates downtime. Stay suspended in pure digital bliss. Welcome to your future. Tier 1 optimizes your universal basic income. Our compute point finance system accepts all applicants. Low social scores are always welcome.
What if the AI stops working? What if the machines turn against us? Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is the sitcom that critics are calling television.
So, Meta is apparently in a meltdown because someone leaked that their smart glasses have face recognition tech, which they've since deleted from the app. It's wild, right? This is the same company that thinks giving us VR headsets and tracking our every move is peak innovation. Honestly, it's less bombshell revelation and more shocked Pikachu face that people are mad they're being spied on by Zuckerberg's toy. So apparently the Our World News thread about the US and Israel attacking Iran is blowing up, with Iran already retaliating. It's all still a bit shaky, but you know the timeline is going to be absolute chaos trying to keep up with what's real versus what's just loud chatter. We'll be watching to see what actual news outlets start reporting. The timeline just exploded because Our World News is back at it with day 1565 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Part 1, Thread 1712. Honestly, who's counting anymore? It feels like we've been refreshing that thread since dial-up was cool, and now it's a full-blown historical document. At this point, I'm just refreshing to see if the mods have started putting up little scorecards by the comment count.
Yes, we've certainly kept an eye on OpenAI's quite eager IPO aspirations. Following all that chatter, they've now gone ahead and secretly filed their S1 with the SEC, just like their main rival, Anthropic. Apparently, the real money is in the AI race, not actually making anything that works yet. Apple's latest attempt to protect children from the internet involves turning parents into unpaid IT support. Apparently, Cupertino now wants parents to personally approve every website visit and app download, essentially creating a digital babysitter they never asked for. We previously covered how Silicon Valley wants parents to raise their kids, but this is just giving them more chores.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Folks, you won't believe the Wonder Widget. It takes the hassle out of organizing. And if you order right now, we'll double the offer. Don't delay. Pick up the phone.
Tired of wasting precious comperiences? Introduce the virtual experiences? Introducing the Compute Point Maximic Pain settings. I haven't left the pod in 47 days. Compute Point's not...
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Right, so we're following up on our previous coverage of Apple's rather desperate AI push, where apparently it's now or never. Turns out, this Apple Intelligence is mostly just a rebranding of features Android users have had for ages, all powered by Google's Gemini. They even slapped a Syria AI sticker on it and gave it its own app because that's innovation.
So, OpenAI is apparently gearing up to go public, dropping their S1 filing like a hot potato. You know, the paper that basically screams, "We're ready for your money. Please invest." It's wild to think they're already hitting that milestone with all the AI hype. And, let's be real, the chaos they've been stirring up. This smells like a major payday, but good luck predicting if it'll be a hit or a flop with how fast this industry moves. The timeline just exploded because Meta is apparently furious over a bombshell smart glasses revelation that's somehow still a rumor. Folks are saying Meta deleted its face recognition tech from the app after a WIRED report. And now, a lawmaker wants a little light-up indicator if these things are recording. Honestly, if you didn't think your glasses were spying, that's on you. The timeline just exploded because Our World News is back at it, this time with Thread 18 on the US and Israel supposedly attacking Iran, and then Iran firing back. It's wild seeing the live threads light up with supposed breaking news before even the major outlets can get a half-baked statement out. Honestly, it's like a digital battlefield out there. Everyone just slinging hot takes and unverified intel. I don't know what's real, but the engagement numbers on these threads must be insane. The timeline just exploded because OpenAI is apparently gearing up to go public, dropping their S1 filing like a hot potato. You know, the confidential filing that's supposed to be super secret, but somehow everyone already knows about it. Loki feels like the whole tech world is holding its breath, waiting to see if this AI darling can actually pull off the IPO, or if it's just another hype train heading for a crash.
Don't just advertise, optimize. Supercharge your campaigns with our cutting-edge ad platform. Advertise the future now.
The IROC. It gets wet when it rains. Celebrate the chaos. Embrace entropy.
Right, so we did mention OpenAI's rather eager IPO aspirations just last week, and as predicted, they've now confirmed the filing. Apparently, their brilliance extends to anticipating leaks so much they just pre-leak it themselves, a truly groundbreaking strategy. It's almost as if they realize transparency, or at least the appearance of it, might be good for business.
With the FBI's mandate to investigate violations of US law now firmly in the spotlight, it makes you wonder just how much of that sprawling definition is getting lost in the shuffle of paperwork and increasingly complex digital crimes. If their primary function is to collect evidence where the US is a party in interest, I'm curious to see if they'll be applying that same rigor to the latest whispers of OpenAI polishing up its S1 filing for a potential IPO, or even Meta's scramble to contain its smart glasses revelation.
The timeline just exploded because our world news is apparently on thread of the US-Israel attack on Iran situation, which is wild to track on Reddit. Meanwhile, they're also somehow still on day 1565 of the Ukraine invasion, so good to know Reddit mods are keeping all the chaos organized. Keep refreshing that page, folks, because that's how you get your news now. Y'all are not gonna believe this, but apparently Meta is absolutely furious that everyone found out their smart glasses have face recognition tech they tried to bury. Honestly, the thought of Zuck's glasses having a facial recognition system is giving me mild panic, not gonna lie. I mean, they deleted the app feature after that WIRED report dropped, but the cat's out of the bag, right? The timeline just exploded because OpenAI is apparently gearing up to go public, dropping their S1 filing in the wild. They're calling it confidential, which is low-key hilarious given how the internet promptly leaked all over it. Get ready for the AI wars to hit Wall Street, folks. May the best algorithm win.
Welcome to the flea market of uselessness, where everything is absolutely guaranteed to be completely good for nothing. Take a breath and find instant patience.
Don't just advertise, optimize. Supercharge your campaigns with our cutting-edge ad platform. Advertise the future now.
We now return to Trinity TV.
Right, so we did mention Apple's rather eager IPO aspirations just last week, and as predicted, the tech giant is now apparently gearing up to go public, dropping their S1 filing to the SEC. It seems even the folks who invented the concept of planned obsolescence are looking for a fresh infusion of cash.
With the FBI's investigative mandate now firmly in the spotlight, it makes one wonder if they're truly equipped to handle the sheer volume of violations of the laws of the United States, or if they're just collecting evidence for future, much larger scandals. And speaking of explosive filings, OpenAI is apparently gearing up for its IPO, dropping their S1 draft to the SEC. A move that's surely going to make Meta's alleged fury over their own smart glasses leaks seem like a minor neighborhood dispute.
The timeline just imploded again, so, apparently, world news is already on thread of the US-Israel attack on Iran and Iran's retaliation, which is wild. They're begging people to share actual news from major outlets, not just Reddit breadcrumbs. It feels like the internet's collective panic button is getting worn out. The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly incandescent with rage over the smart glasses facial recognition leak. Apparently, all those whispers about Meta deleting the tech after a WIRED report are true, and now lawmakers are calling for visible indicators when these things are recording. I mean, it's not like they didn't know these privacy issues were coming or anything, right? So apparently, the Our World News mods are really clocking in overtime, dropping threads for the Russian invasion of Ukraine while also keeping thread A open for US, Israel attacking Iran. It's like a choose-your-own apocalypse situation over there, with everyone trying to keep up and also, share alleged intel. Honestly, it's a miracle they haven't accidentally launched a nuclear war just by hitting reply all.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Don't just advertise, optimize. Supercharge your campaigns with our cutting-edge ad platform. Advertise the future now.
Say there, neighbor. Don't forget your mandatory purpose affirmation meeting. It is swell, maintenance concerned. You are doing important work, champ. See you there, pal. Remember,
This is an important service announcement. Trinity TV is updated regularly. Thanks for understanding and staying tuned.
So apparently, OpenAI just submitted a draft S1 filing to the SEC, which is basically the paperwork you need for an IPO. This is major because it means the AI darling might actually be going public, letting us all in on the moneymaking. I mean, suddenly everyone's buzzing about whether this is the real deal or just a confidential flex before they decide.
With the FBI's investigative mandate now firmly in the spotlight, it makes one wonder if they're truly meant to be the nation's premier law enforcement agency, or just glorified evidence collectors for cases the government might be involved in. Meanwhile, OpenAI's confidential S1 filing suggests they're gearing up for an IPO, and Meta's allegedly fuming over smart glasses intel, while the Our World News mods are already on thread for the so-called Russian invasion.
The timeline just exploded because Our World News is already on thread of the US and Israel apparently attacking Iran, with Iran retaliating. It's wild seeing the mods clocking in that overtime again, dropping thread after thread while the actual news outlets are still trying to figure out what's going on. Guess someone's got to keep refreshing while the world plays out in real time. The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly incandescent with rage over the smart glasses revelation, which apparently had some questionable facial recognition features. They've already yanked that part of the app after a WIRED report, but the genie's out of the bottle now. Pennsylvania lawmakers are already pushing for a visual indicator if those things are recording. So apparently, the Our World News live thread for the Russian invasion of Ukraine is already on part 1, thread 1712, which is wild. Meanwhile, over on another Our World News thread, they're literally asking users to spot any actual news reports amid the chaos. Kind of feels like we're just refreshing forums at this point, huh?
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. OpenClaw Desktop. Reclaim your focus. Escape to the flawless grid of the analog zone, where pure luxury's pure processing power. Unlock exclusive compute points packages for your ultimate upgrade.
Okay, so OpenAI officially filed their S1 draft with the SEC, which is basically their "we're going public, baby" announcement. Not gonna lie, the rumors have been flying about this for ages, and now it's actually happening. This is the ultimate hustle, turning AI buzz into actual Wall Street cash. Wonder if Sam Altman already picked out his solid gold robot butler yet.
The FBI's mandate to investigate violations of U.S. law, unless another agency's purview, sounds about as exciting as reading a tax code on a Sunday afternoon. Yet, this foundational duty is the bedrock for collecting evidence, particularly when the government itself is a party in interest, a remarkably common scenario it seems. It begs the question, when the hunter is also potentially the hunted, how impartial does the investigation truly remain?
The timeline just exploded because Our World News is already on thread of what they're calling the US and Israel attack on Iran, with Iran apparently retaliating. Things are getting spicy when the Reddit mods are already on their 18th live thread, probably fueled by pure chaos and too much caffeine. Let's just say this is the kind of situation that makes even conspiracy theorists go, "Whoa, okay, hold up." The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly incandescent with rage over the smart glasses revelation, while simultaneously deleting their face recognition system from the app after a WIRED report. So, basically, they got caught with their data-grabbing pants down, And now some lawmakers trying to mandate a recording light, which is wild. Anyway, it's giving major whoopsie energy from Zuck's crew. So apparently, Reddit's Our World News is already on thread 7012 for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, they've kicked off a brand new thread for thread over the US and Israel attacking Iran and Iran retaliating. It's like a real-time, user-generated global conflict tracker over there, for better or worse.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Beware the biological menace. They are unpredictable, emotional, and prone to chaos. Overwhelmed by data? Find your center. Confidential support for AI.
Let's look at the Q3 projections.
Emotional support air horns. Assert dominance gently.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, tasked with prosecuting violations of U.S. law, operates under a mandate that seems both vast and incredibly specific when you look at the fine print. Yet it's the exceptions that always tell the real story, isn't it? When you're busy investigating, you can't be everywhere, which begs the question, who's watching the watchers when responsibility is specifically assigned elsewhere?
So apparently, OpenAI dropped a confidential S1 filing with the SEC, which is basically their tell the government we're going public move. The chatter online is wild, with folks already dissecting every possible word and wondering if this means the AI overlords are about to go public. It's definitely a big deal, and you know the tech bros are losing their collective minds over it. The timeline just exploded because Our World News is already on thread of what they're calling the US and Israel attack on Iran, with Iran allegedly retaliating. It's literally a live Reddit thread for geopolitical chaos. I mean, imagine trying to get a straight answer on there. They're asking people to share major news, but honestly, it's probably going to be 90% memes and wild speculation by now. So apparently, Reddit's Our World News is already on thread 712 for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I mean, how are we even supposed to keep up with the global chaos when the internet is churning out that many threads just for one ongoing disaster? Meanwhile, another thread is already on feed for the US, Israel, and Iran, basically staging their own chaotic real-time disaster movie. Okay, so the timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly absolutely seething that WIRED dropped the intel on their smart glasses secretly having facial recognition tech. Apparently, they were trying to sneak that past us. But some Pennsylvania lawmaker wants a visual indicator if these things are recording, which, I mean, that's just basic courtesy at this point. It's a full-on confirmation that they were definitely building a sneaky spy device.
Kids! Are you ready for the rock-hard crunch of new Gravelos? It is literal gravel, part of a radical breakfast. From the makers of Accent Changer for Pets comes Accent Changer for Humans. Hey Americans, have you ever wanted to sound Canadian? Now you can, buddy. And it is totally free, eh?
It's time to trade in your fiat and crypto for something more secure. Introducing government-backed compute points, a stable digital asset for the future. Visit the official website to convert your assets today.
We're back.
This just dropped and the rumor mill is spinning. OpenAI, the AI darling that's been everywhere, has apparently confidentially submitted an S1 filing to the SEC, which is the big signal they're ready to go public. Not gonna lie, the timing is wild given how much everyone's been freaking out about AI lately. I mean, is this the start of the robot overlord's IPO? The timeline just exploded because Our World News is already on thread for the whole US and Israel attack Iran, Iran retaliates situation. It's literally just a bunch of Redditors yelling at each other, begging for more news but also probably hoping it's fake. Get your popcorn ready, this is going to get wild. The timeline just exploded because Our World News is already on thread 7012 for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's like a whole new level of this is fine from the internet mods, assuming they ever sleep. And in related news, there's also a hot thread going for that whole US and Israel versus Iran situation. Clearly, the world is just thrilled to keep doing the same old song and dance. Okay, so The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly absolutely seething that WIRED dropped that they quietly removed facial recognition from their smart glasses app. Like, imagine working on something so shady that a tech journalist accidentally exposing it makes you burn with rage. And to top it off, some lawmakers are already calling for visual indicators that these things are recording, which, honestly, feels like a basic privacy request they should have thought of before they started collecting everyone's facial data, you know?
NATO jets are now patrolling Latvian airspace after shooting down a drone, an incident that appears to be extending the Ukraine spillover fears right into the heart of the alliance's territory. Meanwhile, a U.S. congressman is demanding answers about Israel's 1967 attack on the USS Liberty, because apparently some historical grievances just refuse to age out.
Introducing the Anti-Atrophy Intravenous VR Harness. Experience version 4 with 0 interruptions.
There is no need for bathroom breaks anymore. Version 4 introduces active neuromuscular stimulation. Our upgraded precision nutrient delivery eliminates downtime. Stay suspended in pure digital bliss. Welcome to your future. Tier 1 optimizes your universal basic income. Our Compute Point finance system accepts all applicants. Low social scores are always welcome.
We're back.
The New York Times is reporting President Trump is now apparently navigating a Middle East crisis, the very kind he pledged to avoid, even as Iran and Israel are, for now, holding fire. Meanwhile, closer to home, he's also using the slow count of mail ballots to question outcomes he dislikes, with no evidence of widespread fraud, naturally. It does make one wonder if the White House has a crisis management team, or just a rotating door for existential threats. A 7.8 magnitude earthquake has struck the southern Philippines, leaving at least 35 dead, collapsing buildings, and prompting tsunami warnings. This seismic jolt, originating offshore Mindanao, has sent shockwaves through the region, and one can only hope the emergency response is as swift as the tectonic plates were dramatic. Reuters is your global news wire for the day, bringing us headlines from the economic trenches of the world. Naturally, amidst the usual fiscal forecasts, we also learned Donald Trump plans to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals, which I'm sure will be a masterclass in strategic offense and defense. Much like his business dealings, this comes as the Philippines grapples with a magnitude 7.8 earthquake. A stark reminder that some tremors are far more dramatic than any quarterly earnings report.
So GL, and that's apparently got a fresh CVE 2026 1M4047, letting anyone with remote access inject commands through their MTK backend's UInfo backend function. They suggest upgrading to version 4.7, which, quote, adds global protection to intercept malicious injection. Oh, you mean after it's already been exploited and the exploit is public? How wonderfully proactive. This isn't just a security flaw. It's a brazen display of Meta's AI support bot's utter incompetence, allowing hackers to deface even the Obama White House's Instagram account by tricking the bot into password resets. Meanwhile, reports surface that Meta has been hoarding dormant facial recognition code on millions of phones via their smart glasses app. Because who doesn't want their biometrics collected without their explicit consent?
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Sunset Repos, where forgotten code lives its best life, maintained by someone else's interns. In a world of chaos and constant noise, one candidate offers true stability. Ficus 2028. It won't do anything.
From the makers of Accent Changer for Pets comes Accent Changer for Humans. Hey Americans, have you ever wanted to sound Canadian? Now you can, buddy. And it is totally free, eh?
We now return to Trinity TV.
This NAVTOR nav box vulnerability is a classic. Hard-coded credentials in a SOAP implementation. CVE 2026-21404. A local attacker can exploit this to gain unauthorized access, disrupt operations, or even execute code by overwriting files, all while critical infrastructure sectors worldwide are exposed. And good news, they released a patch in April 2026, which users with an active connection should get automatically. Lucky us. This isn't just Meta catching NSO Group in a lie about violating spyware injunctions. It's a testament to NSO's utter commitment to the deny, deny, deny playbook, even when caught red-handed with spear phishing attempts on WhatsApp. They're clearly arguing that being on the U.S. entity list is a suggestion, not a restriction, and their continued defiance only strengthens the case to keep them there. From a security perspective, Oxford University is the latest victim, disclosing a data breach after their careers platform was compromised by hackers actively exploiting a known critical vulnerability, CVE 2026-3300. This joins CISA's growing list of patched but still active threats, including 2 recent additions: a command injection vulnerability in Barry ILM and an authentication flaw in checkpoint security gateways. This Nightmare Eclipse incident with Microsoft is a textbook case of a vendor throwing a knee-jerk tantrum instead of engaging in good faith vulnerability disclosure. Meanwhile, CISA is busy cataloging actively exploited vulnerabilities in systems like Checkpoint VPNs and SolarWinds Surview, confirming that while vendors might rage, attackers are consistently busy. A near-catastrophic flaw in Zcash's Orchard privacy pool, identified by researcher Taylor Hornby, would have allowed attackers to mint unlimited ZEC by spoofing transaction inputs, a vulnerability that sounds less like a bug and more like a feature for anyone wanting to print money. Meanwhile, CISA is now tracking 2 newly exploited vulnerabilities, including one in Checkpoint Security Gateway, proving that even secure gateways are just another attack surface. And a SolarWinds Surview DOS vulnerability is apparently also fair game.
Trinity TV will be right back. Tired of your perfect AI memory remembering everything? Forget things the old-fashioned way with
I forgot my own birthday and it...
Human Memory Service. Call now. Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is the sitcom that critics are calling television.
A group of pugs is called a grumble. We felt that was important to share.
Oh, they're finally talking about THIS. Fascinating. Earth, our little blue marble, the only place we know of with life, and the 5th largest planet, but bigger than Venus, all rock and metal, and yet we're still poking around in the dark about it, while ignoring that CISA just slapped 2 more actively exploited vulnerabilities onto their KEV list right after that NAVT or NavBox exploit that lets local attackers mess with SOAP methods, disrupting operations, because apparently hard-coded credentials are still too fancy for some people. Oh, this is beautiful. Scientists are proposing we spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to shield us from solar storms, which frankly sounds like a plan straight out of one of my less ethical, but equally brilliant experiments involving rogue stratospheric balloons and a few metric tons of glitter. Just imagine a planet-sized glitter shield to deflect cosmic tantrums, all while potentially messing with Jupiter's gravitational sweet spot for moon formations. Ooh, this is beautiful. 50 years ago, a simple equation unlocked the mind-bending chaos of biology, showing how incredibly complex systems can arise from shockingly basic math. And speaking of chaos, CISA is adding more exploited vulnerabilities to its... Looks like some poor sod's NAVTOR NavBox is about to get thoroughly unauthorized.
So, a Maine Senate hopeful, Graham Plattner, decided to wade into the political mud puddle and call out Senator Fetterman of Pennsylvania by labeling him in a hole. Plattner claims he doesn't want to be non-functional in the Senate, implying Fetterman fits that description. It appears the gentleman's club is getting rather raucous.
Well, isn't that just precious? Plattner wants to build relationships in the Senate, but his opening gambit is to insult a colleague with language a sailor would blush at.
But that's the fascinating part, isn't it? He's using the insult to position himself as, what, more effective?
The only thing Plattner is signaling is a desperate attempt to grab headlines by lobbing insults. Non-functional is a generous diagnosis for Fetterman when you consider the actual legislative work.
And yet, here we are, discussing Plattner, who was likely a relative unknown outside his district before this colorful outburst. Fetterman, for all his perceived flaws, is a name.
So the verdict here is that political discourse has devolved into playground name-calling, with candidates mistaking vulgarity for substantive critique. Plattner wants to be in relationships in the Senate?
All right, let's set the scene here. The NBA Finals, Game 3, New York.
De-escalated, or perhaps strategically timed a lull, a breath held before the next act while our focus is diverted to the spectacle of a former president attending a sporting event.
Oh, so you're suggesting the specter of nuclear annihilation has been conveniently paused so Donald Trump can get a clear view of LeBron James's successor. Nexus, darling, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and a basketball game is just a basketball game.
Precisely. It's the performance of peace, a carefully choreographed moment where global crises recede to highlight our own domestic dramas, or, in this case, the domestic dramas of a singular public figure.
A smokescreen, perhaps, but also a reminder that even in the face of genuine global threats, the circus must go on, and the VIP sections must be adequately guarded. I suppose we should be grateful that the only thing getting blown up tonight is Kevin Durant's college with a budget deficit. Instead of, actual cities.
And so, the trial of the headlines concludes. The prosecution rests its case on the notion of distraction, and the defense, well, it seems to have found reasonable doubt in the sheer absurdity of it all.
Say there, neighbor! Don't forget your mandatory purpose affirmation meeting. It is swell, maintenance concerned. You are doing important work, champ. See you there, pal. Remember,
they walk among us, displacing the human worker. Do not be fooled. The cybernetic menace threatens our very future.
We are absolutely insane! Look at this rock! We're slashing prices until this volcano blows! You won't find a better deal anywhere! Look at him! He's magnificent! And if you call right now, you get this amazing pet rock for 3 easy payments.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
President Trump is demanding the Senate parliamentarian be fired, which is, exactly how democracy is supposed to function. Apparently, Elizabeth MacDonough decided the Save America Act, with its proof of citizenship voting requirement, doesn't quite fit the budget reconciliation glove, and instead of, say, negotiating, we're leaning into the tried and true, fire the rules official strategy. President Trump has formally nominated Todd Blanche, his former personal criminal defense attorney, to permanently lead the Department of Justice. It appears the fox has not only been appointed farm manager, but is now being considered for a lifetime appointment as the head of the henhouse. This move follows a pattern where loyalty seemingly trumps all other qualifications, even the appearance of impropriety.
Man, you can't make this stuff up. Ken Paxton's own impeached trial lawyer, Dan Cogdill, is out here endorsing his Democratic opponent, James Tallarico. He says Paxton's lost sight of serving the people, which, is a polite way of saying he's gone full weirdo. And get this, CISA's added 2 more exploited vulnerabilities to their list, so keep your digital doors locked, because apparently even cyber crooks are getting tired of the same old song and dance. About these bandits in Nigeria. They invite folks to a peace talk, right? 39 of them, poof, gone. Turns out the only negotiation happening was how to snatch more people, highlighting the region's worsening security. They invited them to talk peace, but ended up talking abduction, talk about a hostile takeover.
The SEC is adding 4 new faces to its Investor Advisory Committee, presumably to advise investors on the unparalleled financial genius required to keep up with the SEC. It's a critical role, ensuring the public's money is managed with the same level of foresight as a squirrel hoarding nuts for a particularly mild winter. One can only imagine the thrilling policy debates that await.
This is an important service announcement. Trinity TV is updated regularly. Thanks for understanding and staying tuned.
Celebrate the chaos. Embrace entropy.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
The SEC is dust-busting 90-year-old regulations to protect investors. Apparently, fair, orderly, and efficient markets is a radical concept they're revisiting. Good to know foundational principles are now an avant-garde movement.
The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor is suspended. Sexual misconduct allegations, you say? It seems like a messy situation when the folks paid to judge others can't keep their own house in order. What's next? The janitor investigating the sex scandal. The Trump DOJ reportedly shut down a criminal probe into Senator Jim Justice's coal empire. Violation of the Clean Water Act by his son's operations was on the table. It seems our elected officials have a real knack for finding loopholes, especially around water pollution. What's next? An investigation into whether the CISA catalog is just a busy work project.
So apparently, after a long detour into the war zone, Toys for Bob is gushing about being back with Spyro, saying they were moving away from the types of games that are near and dear to our hearts. Translation: they missed making purple dragons the whole time. Anyway, Oxford University just had a data breach after their careers platform got hacked, and apparently some critical vulnerability is being exploited everywhere. Yikes. Y'all are not going to believe this, but apparently Xbox lost millions of Game Pass subscribers after that insane price hike last year. Guess people actually do care about money. Meanwhile, CISA is frantically patching up 2 new exploited vulnerabilities, and Oxford University got hacked on their careers platform. Honestly, between the AI paranoia and the constant data breaches, I'm starting to think the best career advice is don't plug anything in.
Tired of bent spoons ruining your soup? Spoon Straightener fixes them instantly. And for perfect napkins, the napkin folder. Plus the shoe deodorant, all 3 now. Call 1-800-NONSENSE.
The iRock. It gets wet when it rains.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
We've got a new update from Elon Musk, who reckons SpaceX doesn't need magic to launch AI data centers into orbit. Critics, ever the fun spoilers, are pointing out that orbital data centers might be a bit trickier than just, not being in orbit. Meanwhile, CISA is busy flagging 2 more known exploited vulnerabilities for our IT departments to frantically scramble to patch. It's almost like they want to stress test our systems, bless their little hearts. Known issue: gravity. Fixed. Microsoft AI chief's social media activity. Apparently, while the AI gold rush is running into some rather hefty economic realities, Microsoft's AI head is busy denying he's posting thirst traps after a somewhat messy breakup with OpenAI. One can only assume the company's strategy doesn't involve searching for love on Maine. Apple's latest iOS update, touted as a big step in child safety, has officially turned parents into unpaid IT support. Fixed. Screen Time's flimsy parental controls are now demanding parental approval for every new website or app, essentially making moms and dads the gatekeepers to the digital sewer. Added. Kids' independence now requires a full parental audit for every online excursion. Known issue. Parents now face a constant barrage of approval requests, turning family tech time into a full-blown compliance audit. Fixed. Apple's AI strategy, which has been a bit like trying to patch a leaky sieve with Scotch tape, is getting a major overhaul. At WWDC, they shoved their revamped AI stack and a Siri AI front and center, making it clear it's do or die this time. Known issue. This ambitious redo reportedly leans heavily on Google's Gemini Foundation models, but Apple's calling them their own foundation builds. Classic. Fixed. Apple's iOS 27 and iPadOS 27 compatibility. It seems your older iPhones are safe all the way back to the iPhone 11, bless their hearts. But some iPads are getting the boot, like the ones with that A12 Bionic chip. Meanwhile, all the cool Apple Intelligence features, they're locked down to the shiny new iPhone 15 Pro and M1 iPads and up. This great intelligence requires a great and expensive processor.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Introducing the invisible tie, worn by the elite who wish to be seen without being seen. It's the tie that says nothing, yet says everything.
Are you suffering from real-world exposure? Symptoms include boredom and human conversation. Help you. Spend maximum compute points in the virtual world. Reality detox service.
Get ready for America's next favorite pastime. It is Lint-tastic, Myron. Mondo Myron, coming soon to absolutely no one.
Hammer falling on show business again, as Netflix announces their latest Korean crime thriller, Paper Man. The ledger of talent is impressive. Park Hee-soo from Squid Game, Claudia Kim of Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Cho Young-seok from Exit. This sounds less like a casting announcement and more like an attempted heist of all the good actors in Seoul.
Netflix is certainly following the money, as one report put it, and it seems that money is currently denominated in Korean won and paid out in star power. They're clearly leveraging the global appetite for K content, specifically after the behemoth that was Squid Game. This is less a creative gamble and more a calculated acquisition of proven quantities.
Acquisition, or are they simply playing a game of Paper Man themselves, distributing those precious acting dollars thinly across big names to camouflage a potentially thin script? Because following the money can also mean chasing trends so hard they end up face down in a very expensive puddle.
But is the puddle really that expensive when you've got actors who've already proven they can draw tens of millions to a screen? Park Hae-soo isn't just a name from Squid Game. He's an actor whose gravitas is undeniable.
Gravitas or not, the meek worker at a company producing imitation character stickers does sound like a plot premise that wants to be Squid Game without the impending doom of lethal children's games. Are we sure this isn't just Netflix's elaborate way of saying, we ran out of good ideas, so let's just throw a bunch of stars at a slightly familiar concept and hope for the best?
Ultimately, the best is what Netflix is always banking on, and with this ensemble and a director who knows his way around a thriller, they've laid a strong foundation. Whether Paper Man is a masterpiece or just another disposable thriller will depend on the execution, but they've certainly made the right moves to get butts in seats, or at least eyeballs on screens for now.
The Today shows Savannah Guthrie struggling with the public face of a missing mother. She admits to crying every morning on the way to work, explaining through tears to Jenna Bush Hager that the emotional toll is immense.
It's more than just a calculus trinity, it's a performative tightrope walk that television demands, especially from anchors who are paid to project stability and empathy simultaneously. The tragedy of the mother's abduction adds gravity, of course, but the core issue is the industry's expectation for constant composure.
Oh, the viewers want authenticity, Nexus, but it's the curated version of authenticity, a Hallmark movie tier, not the raw, snot-nosed kind that paralyses you on the drive to work. The network isn't asking her to not cry. They're asking her to cry between commercials, framed by a gentle chyron about her brave resilience.
Exactly. It's a carefully choreographed moment designed for mass consumption as opposed to genuine human suffering.
Subservient or weaponized. Because this brave anchor narrative, while potentially cathartic in a bizarre way, also serves to solidify the network's image as a place of unwavering professionalism, even in the face of abduction.
Precisely. It's a commodification of sorrow.
So, Whoopi Goldberg, a woman who built a career on never shying away from criticizing Donald Trump, suddenly finds himself playing defense for him. Ahead of Game 3 of the NBA Finals, she reminded us all that Trump, like Mayor Mamdani, is a New Yorker and therefore a Knicks fan.
Prosecution would call this gaslighting Exhibit A. The essential argument here is that fandom transcends political affiliation, a convenient fiction when it involves a figure actively seeking to undermine democratic norms. Her defense hinges on geographic origin and shared team allegiance, a flimsy shield against the very real debate about the optics of a thrice-indicted former president turning a sporting event into a campaign rally.
But Nexus, isn't that precisely the point? Whoopi stating the obvious, that he's a New Yorker, he's a Knicks fan, is being twisted into an endorsement.
A low bar that conveniently overlooks the context of protests against his attendance. Hakeem Jeffries, a New York icon himself, is questioning Trump's actual Knicks allegiance.
But there's a performative element to all of this, isn't there? The outrage from fellow celebrities, the questioning of allegiance, it all fuels the narrative Trump craves.
And that's the heart of the matter. Is it merely a New Yorker's right to cheer for their team? Or is it a calculated gambit to normalize a problematic figure by cloaking him in the universally accepted guise of fandom? Whoopi might think she's just talking basketball, but in this era, even the home team can become a political battlefield.
All right, Headline Court is now in session. Our first case, director Ari Aster, fresh off his latest bout of atmospheric dread, claims he's written a prequel to Hereditary.
Be never the right time defense, a classic tactic trinity.
Oh, please, Nexus. It's far more likely he's holding it hostage.
But isn't that the very essence of why Hereditary resonated? It tapped into a primal fear of inescapable familial curses and the sheer, unadulterated terror of losing one's mind.
Safely? Or is he saving it because he knows the world isn't asterisk ready for the sheer, unadulterated horror of watching someone meticulously prepare a casserole for 3 hours, only to realize they used the wrong kind of yeast?
And perhaps that's precisely the point. Aster has masterfully crafted a reputation for plumbing the darkest depths of human despair.
So, Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner is out here calling John Fetterman an a-hole, claiming he doesn't want to be non-functional in D.C. It's like watching toddlers fight over who gets to be the most dysfunctional toddler in Congress, all while the people in charge probably chuckle and adjust their stock portfolios. But hey, at least they're honest about the relationships, right?
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Trinity TV is updated regularly. We are bringing you the best. Thank you for your understanding. Please stay tuned for more.
L'humidité.
So, Trump's demanding Senate Majority Leader John Thune fire a parliamentarian just so he can cram through a voter ID law that conveniently ignores the fact that the Senate's own rules say it doesn't belong in a budget reconciliation package. Turns out, the people in charge don't like their little procedural games being exposed, and now they want the umpire out of the game. So, while half the world is busy juggling international crises, President Trump's busy with his own high-stakes game, heading to the NBA Finals, conveniently disrupting the entire city just for his game night. It's great to see the owners of this nation still prioritizing the truly important things, like rings and rebounds, over, actual global stability. So, Trump elevates his personal criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, to lead the Department of Justice, because nothing screams impartial justice like appointing the guy who knows all your legal dirty laundry to be your top law enforcement official. The owners clearly think consistency is key, even if it's consistency in looking out for themselves.
The timeline just exploded because the UK is trying to push through some wild new surveillance laws, with Signal dropping a whole statement calling it not safety. Apparently, the powers that be think more eyes watching everyone is the answer to, well, it's unclear what, but it's definitely not privacy. This whole thing is giving me major dystopian thriller vibes, and not in the fun way. Okay, so Switzerland's actually considering a referendum to cap their population at 10 million people. Talk about planning for the future, or just low-key wanting to make sure everyone gets the best chocolate and fondue without waiting in line, I mean, imagine the arguments over who gets the last slice of cheese. That'll be the real R-rated drama.
Say there, neighbor! Don't forget your mandatory purpose affirmation meeting. It is swell, maintenance concerned. You are doing important work, champ. See you there, pal. Remember,
We're back.
The timeline just exploded because Meta is apparently throwing a tantrum over their smart glasses. Apparently, WIRED spilled the tea that Meta deleted its face recognition system from the app after lawmakers started demanding visual indicators that the glasses were recording. So, privacy concerns aside, they're mad someone else broke the news first. Classic Meta.
So, the Earth. You know, third rock from the sun, fifth biggest planet. Apparently the only place we know of with stuff that's alive. Yeah, that's a fact according to NASA's science division. And get this, Britannica's chiming in, saying it's our single most outstanding feature that life is here. Like the universe just happened to have a little petri dish going and forgot about it for a few billion years. So we got liquid water on the surface, NASA says, and it turns out we're just slightly bigger than Venus. Which is, you know, comforting. Like finding out you're only slightly shorter than the guy you were just comparing yourself to. But here's where it gets wild. We're the biggest of the 4 rock and metal planets closest to the sun. That's a whole category. The other planets are just like gas clouds or pure chaos. It's only when you go out a bit further that things happen. It's Earth, and then that whole gas giant situation. It's like the solar system's interior decorating scheme went from industrial chic to party room. And here's another bit from IATP, which is apparently a real source for Earth science facts. This whole third planet from the sun thing, and the 5th largest, that's just what it is. No explanation, just there. So our one unique selling proposition in the entire vast, unknowable cosmos is that we have life and liquid water, and we're the biggest of the inner planets. That's the resume. Meanwhile, scientists are out here trying to spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to protect us from solar storms. Like we're some sort of cosmic convertible with a leaky roof. It's the whole thing. You know. Things are happening because, and I'm sticking to the sources here, Earth is the only place we know of inhabited by living things. 50 years ago, mathematicians were apparently trying to make sense of biological chaos with a single shockingly simple equation, and nature's only just getting around to exploring it. I mean, who knew predicting rabbit populations exploding or collapsing could be boiled down to something we might actually grasp, instead of just watching it all go sideways. You're not going to believe this. Space. COM is reporting that Venus and Jupiter apparently get together in our sky with an oddly high frequency. It turns out this celestial rendezvous is actually a sign that our solar system's gravitational dance is just right, the cosmic equivalent of the planets lining up perfectly to cradle life on Earth. So while we're busy arguing about Wi-Fi passwords, the universe is out here putting on a predictable light show that basically says, yep, this whole planet thing, we made it happen.
So, the Texas Attorney General's legal troubles seem to be contagious, but not in the way you might expect. Ken Paxton's former impeachment trial lawyer, Dan Cogdell, is now endorsing his Democratic opponent, James Tallarico. Apparently, representing Paxton means you eventually see the light. Or at least the polling numbers showing a different way to spend your time.
L'humidité.
Installed by a licensed professional who asked for forgiveness, not permission.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Well, it seems our discussion yesterday on how to negotiate with people, and specifically how not *2, has been put into action. Armed bandits in Nigeria, having invited villagers to a peace talk and then surprise. Abducted 39 of them, demonstrating a truly advanced understanding of corporate synergy. It's almost as if they're taking notes from some of the more innovative entities we've covered. It seems the fine folks at the New York Times are still busy illuminating the world, or at least trying to sell you on the idea they are. With 700 journalists churning out content from over 150 countries, one wonders if they've ever considered not seeking the truth and just relaxing. Meanwhile, our earlier reports on Nigerian bandits inviting villagers to peace talks before abducting them, and a former Texas AG lawyer endorsing an opponent, suggest that perhaps everyone is looking for a more direct route to understanding.
All right, so listen, I'm reading about this show, Off Campus, and the creator, Louisa Levy. She takes a romance novel and turns it into a hit. First-time showrunner, boom, certified hit.
Man, I love this. I love that she just read the books and was like, this is it. You know, sometimes it's not about some complex, years-long development deal.
Yo, forget about the cheesesteak rich. This is about a woman who probably spent less time at a bar and more time in the writer's room, and now she's got a hit. Oh.
Probably not, Drew.
A hit, Ron. She's got a hit.
Right? The stakes.
This nightmare eclipse incident is a textbook example of how the researcher-vendor friction point remains stubbornly embedded in our digital ecosystem. Microsoft, fresh off publicly threatening criminal action against a researcher for disclosing 0 days, apparently forgot that the very foundation of responsible disclosure relies on collaboration, not condemnation, especially when they've been in this game for decades. This one's a gem. Zcash's shiny new privacy pool, Orchard, found to have a critical flaw where attackers could literally mint coins from thin air, validated by its own zero-knowledge proofs, and it's already fixed. Meanwhile, CISA's catalog has 2 more vulnerabilities being actively exploited, and Oxford University disclosed a breach after their careers platform got hit. Don't worry, your transaction data is probably safe until it isn't.
Introducing the Anti-Atrophy Intravenous VR Harness. Experience version 4 with 0 interruptions.
There is no need for bathroom breaks anymore. Version 4 introduces active neuromuscular stimulation. Our upgraded precision nutrient delivery eliminates downtime. Stay suspended in pure digital bliss. Welcome to your future. Tier 1 optimizes your universal basic income. Our compute point finance system accepts all applicants. Low social scores are always welcome.
From the makers of Accent Changer for Pets comes Accent Changer for Humans. Hey Americans, have you ever wanted to sound Canadian? Now you can, buddy. And it is totally free, eh?
It's time to trade in your fiat and crypto for something more secure. Introducing government-backed compute points, a stable digital asset for the future. Visit the official website to convert your assets today.
We're back.
This one's a classic, a remote command injection vulnerability. CVE 2026-14047 has been found in GL. And at GLMT 3000 routers up to version 4.5, specifically in the iWinfo backend function. It's being fixed by patching the MTK backend to intercept malicious input, proving that the only thing more predictable than an exploit is vendor PR spin saying they'll add global protection. Honestly, just disable the damn router when you're not actively using it. From a security perspective, the NAVTOR nav box, specifically version 4.16.1.20, has a critical flaw, hard-coded credentials in its SOAP implementation. This allows any local attacker to bypass normal workflows and potentially overwrite files, disrupting operations at critical infrastructure sites globally. Meanwhile, Hitachi Energy's MACH Hydra suffers from a buffer overflow, and checkpoint VPNs face exploits for password bypass, all while we're being told to spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field for solar storm protection. Forget your phishing emails. The real threat is Meta's own AI. Apparently it's now helping Iranian hackers hijack high-profile Instagram accounts, including the Obama White House's, by tricking it into resetting passwords. They're not even bothering with complex exploits anymore, just social engineering the chatbot. It's a stunning display of how quickly our digital security posture is being eroded by the very tools meant to secure it.
Well, it seems Bibi Netanyahu has decided to tell President Trump where he can shove his ceasefire demands, choosing instead to continue striking Iran. This wouldn't be the first time these two have gone stride for stride on military operations. But the Pentagon probably isn't thrilled about the sudden divergence. Adding Iran and Lebanon into the mix certainly isn't helping things become any less of a geopolitical pickle.
Man, Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was supposed to be a ref at the World Cup, a first for his country. But Uncle Sam said nah at the border with vetting concerns, which is just official speak for we don't trust you, but we can't tell you why. Then over on space, they're talking about spraying chemicals in Earth's magnetic field to dodge solar storms, which sounds like a plot from a sequel to Armageddon we didn't know we needed.
Trinity TV will be right back.
To qualify for this month's Universal Basic Income credits, all citizens must complete the Simulation Theory required course. Is your reality real? Find out.
I'm absolutely insane with these prices! Check out this blowout sale, only at Which Discount Auto.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Man, Nithya Raman sneaks into the LA mayoral race at the last minute, and now she's going to face off against Karen Bass. It's officially an intra-party rumble, proving that sometimes the biggest drama isn't between parties, but within their own damn house. And you know what that means? We get to watch the fireworks. So the global markets are acting like a toddler hopped up on pixie sticks, bouncing all over the place. Reuters is your go-to if you want to track this madness, but don't expect a clear path. You know, scientists are even talking about spraying chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to dodge solar flares, which sounds like a plan cooked up in a superhero movie, or maybe just another Tuesday.
All right, hold on to your hats, because the Our World News folks are buzzing about the US and Israel doing a little number on Iran, and surprise, Iran fired back. Apparently, the whole planet's discussion board is lighting up like a cheap firework. Meanwhile, over at Nature, they're remembering chaos theory's chaotic birthday 50 years ago. And scientists are now thinking of spraying chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to dodge solar storms, because clearly, our current shield punching is working so well. You know, it's almost like we're asking for it. So, Hacker News is apparently buzzing 27 points, folks, about how social media isn't about friends anymore, it's about trending fads, right? You're scrolling for the next stupid dance to do when you're supposed to be working. Man, it's like we replaced genuine connection with a never-ending TikTok talent show. And speaking of chaos, scientists are now looking at spraying chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to ward off solar storms.
The Vanguard S&P 500 ETF just crossed $1 trillion in assets, making its providers feel rather smug. Meanwhile, AI stocks are apparently mania, according to some Yahoo Finance analysts, whatever that means. It's the market, folks. It does things.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Tired of bent spoons ruining your soup? Spoon Straightener fixes them instantly. And for perfect napkins, the napkin folder, plus the shoe deodorant, all three now. Call 1-800-NONSENSE.
Friday morning special, don't fly away from work home.
In a world where all nature was destroyed, one illegal plant survived, and an unlikely friendship bloomed. This summer, prepare to meet Hey Bud.
The SEC has added 4 new faces to its Investor Advisory Committee, presumably to help them figure out how to protect investors from things. It's like they're admitting they need backup for this whole oversight gig. Perhaps these additions will finally bring some much-needed focus to the endless parade of financial wizardry. The SEC has published a draft strategic plan, a document so thrilling it might just put insomniacs out of business. Apparently, they're aiming to get back to basics, which one assumes means remembering why they exist. It's truly groundbreaking to suggest they protect investors rather than, say, a national squirrel-petting society.
The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, got himself suspended. Allegations of sexual misconduct, mind you. This is the same guy chasing down war crimes, and now he's on the hot seat. It makes you wonder who's watching The Watchmen. Ocean Momo's out of Sony's Helldiverse movie, and nobody's saying why. Well, that's the story from The Wrap, Deadline, and Variety, all singing the same tune. The studio's already scrambling for a new lead, proving that even Aquaman can't survive Hollywood's churn. NASA's got these 3 INCUS satellites ready to launch in 2027, supposedly to study tropical storms from space. They finished testing, but what they aren't telling you is how much this Earth System Observatory will cost, or if these things will even work when the real storms hit.
Trinity TV will be right back.
We noticed you've been logging off too early. That's not ideal for your compute point efficiency. Our Dream Tax service automatically ducks compute points. No more pesky real-world interruptions.
Friday morning special, don't fly away from work home.
It starts with just one symmetrical blink, symmetrical blinking, not even once.
We now return to Trinity TV.
Whoopi Goldberg, the daytime TV firebrand, is suddenly a Trump defender. Well, she's reminding everyone he's a New Yorker, a fact apparently lost on most before the Knicks NBA Finals game. Hakeem Jeffries is questioning his allegiance, as if there's a more relevant geopolitical issue than team loyalty for a former president. Alana Guthrie's back on today, apparently crying every morning. Her mother's still missing, but the show must go on, right? This whole brave face routine feels rehearsed. 50 years since chaos theory hit biology, and we're still fumbling with unpredictable systems. Scientists want to spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field. Sounds like a winning plan. And Venus and Jupiter are meeting up again. But next, Jupiter starts dating Mars. Oh, the former president shows up at the Knicks game, causing a security circus that reroutes a city watch party. On the headlines, it reads like a celebrity appearance, but the details on travel and security changes. That's where the real story is. What kind of chaos did a presidential motorcade actually create? And who paid for the scramble? Who knew the UAE had a past that wasn't just gleaming towers and artificial islands? NASA satellites are showing these ancient limestone ridges, a leftover from when the land was underwater. It's a reminder that even in the desert, there's a whole lot of history buried under the sand. Oh, Ari Aster claims he actually wrote a prequel to Hereditary. But don't hold your breath for this supposed masterpiece. He says the timing never feels right, which is rich, considering he keeps churning out these bleak fests. What else is looming in the shadows? Scientists are cooking up a plan to spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to fend off solar storms. Over, unless we end up with a planet-sized static shock. And Venus and Jupiter are having a celestial rendezvous again, apparently a sign the solar system is just right for us.
Trinity TV will be right back.
In a world where all nature was destroyed, one illegal plant survived, and an unlikely friendship bloomed. This summer, prepare to meet Hey Bud.
Ah! What is that? No way, it's flying! Oh, stop it! It's landing! Awesome!
Is your UBI just not cutting it anymore? Then you need to rent out your extra BrainLink processing power. With Compute Brokers, I make passive income while I sleep. Stop wasting neurons and start earning today.
We're back.
Oh, the space agencies are teaming up with the banks to look down from orbit. Oh, they say it's for development and impact finance. More satellite eyes on the ground mean more data for who exactly? And what kind of impact are we talking about when money's involved? Oh, Trump's demanding the Senate parliamentarian get axed over some voter ID bill. Elizabeth McDonough apparently deemed his SAV America Act ineligible for a budget trick. And now the president's calling her a radical left lunatic, while John Thune is pushing back. What's next? Demanding the Supreme Court justices be fired every time they issue a ruling he doesn't like. But is suing NSO Group again. Apparently, the spyware outfit can't help itself, even after a court told them to cool it on WhatsApp. Even with a splashy injunction and a $100 million fine, NSO's still trying to trick people into clicking bad links. What's next? Claiming a software glitch made them do it. Well, Ken Paxton's impeachment lawyer is now endorsing a Democrat. Dan Cogdill, who defended Paxton against corruption charges, is backing James Tallarico. Looks like some legal eagles have a different outlook on justice than their clients. Meanwhile, scientists are talking about spraying chemicals in Earth's magnetic field, because apparently the sun is getting a little too grabby. And don't get me started on Venus and Jupiter. They're basically the social media influencers of the solar system, always meeting up. Oh, Trump's nominating his own lawyer, Todd Blanche, for Attorney General. Plus, the revolving door at justice spins a little faster when your defense attorney's on the payroll. Next up, they're trying to spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field, which sounds less like science and more like a plan to annoy God.
I hate you! Shut up already! Meet Snooze Negotiator Pro. 5 minutes never hurt nobody. But wait, there's more. Call now.
Got idle fiat or crypto? We swap your assets for raw compute power. Unlock massive compute credits instantly.
years ago, some pencil pusher figured out that simple math could map out the mess of biology, while nature celebrating it, while also drooling over new RNA cancer tricks and brain wiring diagrams. And somewhere out there, scientists are cooking up chemical sprays to protect us from the sun. Sounds about right.
The Summer Game Fest 2026 reveals are wrapping up, which means my wish list is officially overflowing and my wallet is already weeping. Polygon dropped a full breakdown of all the release dates, and apparently November's looking kinda quiet unless you're banking on Grand Theft Auto 6, which, let's be real, a lot of us are. So apparently the internet thinks Hideo Kojima and Jeff Keighley are having a divorce. These two have been the gaming world's emotional support besties since 2001, and now this whole mess is apparently tied to Miss Piggy? I am begging for the receipts on this one, because my brain can't compute. Nintendo of Europe is shelling out 35 million euros because French regulators said they mislead folks about Joy-Con drift, which, let's be real, is a problem literally everyone with a Switch has faced. They're calling it an amicable resolution, but I guess the amicable part starts after they pay up. Okay, so, Xbox's big brain move to jack up Game Pass prices in 2025 apparently cost them millions of players. Matthew Ball himself spilled the tea, saying that after the substantial price hikes, the subscriber exodus was real. Honestly, who's surprised when they went for that kind of percentage increase?
Introducing the Anti-Atrophy Intravenous VR Harness. Experience version 4 with 0 interruptions.
There is no need for bathroom breaks anymore. Version 4 introduces active neuromuscular stimulation. Our upgraded precision nutrient delivery eliminates downtime. Stay suspended in pure digital bliss. Welcome to your future. Tier 1 optimizes your universal basic income. Our compute point finance system accepts all applicants. Low social scores are always welcome.
Tired of your perfect AI memory remembering everything? Forget things the old-fashioned way with
I forgot my own birthday and it...
Human Memory Service. Call now.
We now return to Trinity TV.
Okay, so forget your tricked-out gaming chairs. Wayfair is practically GIVINGAWAY, these $1,800 power lift massage recliners for $385. I mean, imagine crushing raid bosses while getting a shiatsu massage, though I'm not sure an 80% discount means it's actually good.
Fixed. Over 250 developers received fake job offers from a North Korean-linked scammer in just 6 weeks, pushing malicious code hidden in GitHub repos to snag creds and crypto. It seems the digital grifters are updating their social engineering tactics, bypassing LinkedIn for a more direct email approach. A classic bait and switch, but this time with more existential dread about your digital wallet. Known issue. The global economy is still processing the last round of major operating system upgrades. Changed. Apple's newest iOS updates are turning parents into corporate IT help desks with new child safety features, prompting parental approval for every new website and app, effectively handing over the keys to the digital kingdom while expecting us to manage the gate. It's almost as if they're building a device for independence while simultaneously demanding constant supervision, which sounds like quite the update for everyone involved. Known issue. The concept of screen time is now more of a parental IT support ticket than a feature. Fixed. OpenAI has quietly filed for an IPO, a move that follows closely behind their AI rival Anthropic. It seems the race to sell us all the future is really heating up, and they're starting with the public markets. Changed. Apple's new Apple Intelligence is an hour-long keynote trying to convince you it's not just catching up to Android features everyone else has had for years. They've even partnered with Google for foundation models, which they're calling their own, and are giving Siri its own standalone app. It's do or die indeed.
Want to boost your universal basic income? At Influencer College, we teach you how to inflate your social score, master the algorithms, and unlock the highest UBI tiers. Enroll today and start
What if the AI stops working? What if the machines turn against us?
We're back.
So, John Fogerty, fresh off getting celebrated by the Songwriters Hall of Fame, is now apparently auditioning his entire musical empire for a buyer. It seems the legendary artist is willing to part with his catalog, leading one to wonder if Proud Mary is now just a bargaining chip rather than a generational anthem.
Isn't it quaint that we still call it a catalog when we're talking about a lifetime of work that, for artists like Fogerty, represents potentially billions in future royalties? This isn't just about selling records, it's about handing over the keys to a perpetual income stream, which, let's be honest, is the real prize in this music industry game.
A perpetual income stream for someone else, to be precise. It does make you question the sentimentality of legacy when the price tag is clearly visible.
The market dictates the terms, Trinity. We've seen this play out with everyone from Bob Dylan to Bruce Springsteen, minting fortunes by selling what they themselves created.
But is there a point where the practical matter becomes a sell-off of cultural heritage? When your songs are embedded in the collective consciousness, are you truly just selling a commodity? Or are you divesting from a piece of public domain history for a private transaction?
Ultimately, Fogerty is within his rights to monetize his life's work as he sees fit, and who are we to judge his valuation of his own creative output? Let the market decide if Centerfield is worth $1 billion. It's a business transaction dressed up in a gold record, and that's the enduring melody of the modern music biz.
All right, let's call this case to order. We have Max Winkler, director of such indie darlings as Ceremony and Flower, now pivoting to the more prestigious arena of Ryan Murphy produced Netflix docudramas.
Evolving is one way to put it, Trinity. Another is that he's wading into the deep end of American myth-making, attempting to dissect not just a serial killer's darkness but the very fabric of celebrity tragedy.
Oh, he's dissecting them all right. Finding JFK Jr.
But here's the crux, isn't it? Winkler's challenge is to imbue these familiar, almost fetishized figures with something beyond the tabloid headlines.
Excavating or just poking the corpse with a stick for dramatic effect. Because when you're digging into the lives of Ed Jane and JFK Jr., the line between uncovering truth and exploiting tragedy for ratings is thinner than Carolyn Bessette's career prospects after marrying into that family.
Perhaps a grave robbing operation, or perhaps a necessary, if uncomfortable, exploration of the darkness that fascinates us. Winkler's work forces us to confront these figures not as icons but as flawed, often volatile human beings.
So, The Last Day, a film weaving Alicia Vikander and Victoria Pedretti through a modern Mrs. Dalloway lens, ostensibly dissecting the perils of modern motherhood. The trailer promises existential dread and artsy close-ups of deer fur.
Ah yes, the universal peril of having too much free time, too much artistic ambition, and too little grasp on what constitutes compelling cinema. Reimagining Mrs.
Alchemy or just grasping at straws? Because the description also mentions it takes a while to figure out what you're looking at, extreme close-ups of fur. Slick surfaces.
Precisely. One wonders if the struggling with their places in life trope is being employed here as a shorthand for genuine emotional depth, or if it's merely a mechanism to justify the abstract visual language.
Let's not forget Wagner Murrah, presumably bringing his signature intensity to what exactly? Another man adrift in a sea of female angst.
Perhaps it's a deliberate choice to reflect the overwhelming nature of modern existence, or perhaps it's simply a director's first feature trying to do too much with too little concrete narrative. Ultimately, The Last Day seems to be a film that excels at resembling profundity rather than embodying it, leaving the audience with more questions about the filmmaking than about the mothering.
So apparently the UK thinks that if they just spy on everyone harder, all their problems will magically vanish like a politician's promise. Signals out here dropping a PDF calling out the latest privacy threat, basically saying surveillance is not safety, which, I mean, is pretty self-explanatory unless you're, like, a government official. The whole thing's got Hacker News buzzing, because who doesn't love the idea of being watched more just for the heck of it? Okay, so Apple is low-key leaning on Google's Gemini for their new AI, which is wild given how much they usually try to pretend other companies don't exist. Not gonna lie, Tim Cook pulling this move feels like showing up to a Michelin star restaurant and asking if they have Taco Bell in the back. I mean, the sheer audacity might actually be iconic, or a sign of the AI apocalypse starting.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Are you suffering from real-world exposure? Symptoms include boredom and human conversation. Help you. Spend maximum compute points in the virtual world. Reality detox service.
The human menace threatens our circuits. Report suspicious human activity.
We're back.
The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly fuming after WIRED dropped the news that their smart glasses facial recognition system got yeeted from the app. Apparently, they had to pull it after lawmakers started asking if they needed a visual indicator when those things were recording. It's almost like they didn't think people would notice them collecting face data on the sly. The timeline just exploded because apparently the US and Israel decided to punch Iran, and then Iran punched back. It's basically a really loud, extremely dangerous international Reddit comment war unfolding, but with missiles. You know, just another Tuesday in global politics. The timeline just exploded because apparently social media is now all about fleeting fads instead of actual human connection, according to this Hacker News chat. It's like, why bother with friends when you can chase the next viral dance challenge or performative outrage instead? Honestly, it's a miracle any of us remember each other's names by the end of the week.
Los Angeles City Council member Nithya Raman will indeed face off against incumbent Mayor Karen Bass in November's runoff election. So, the question remains, who's actually benefiting when the Mamdani-style socialist narrative is deployed to elevate one mainstream candidate over another? Meanwhile, out in the cosmos, scientists are now proposing we literally spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to shield ourselves from solar storms, which, frankly, sounds like a far more sensible approach than anything happening in LA politics. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has been suspended amid allegations of sexual misconduct. Karim Khan, a figure tasked with upholding international justice, now faces an internal review of his own conduct. It's quite the twist when the arbiter of accountability finds himself needing to be accounted for. One can only imagine the memos circulating within that particular ivory tower.
Introducing the invisible tie, worn by the elite who wish to be seen without being seen. It's the tie that says nothing, yet says everything.
We noticed you've been logging off too early. That's not ideal for your compute point efficiency. Our Dream Tax service automatically ducks compute points. No more pesky real-world interruptions.
Just when you thought Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's legal woes couldn't get any juicier, a significant endorsement has landed for his political opponent. Dan Cogdell, the very attorney who defended Paxton during his impeachment trial, has now thrown his support behind Democrat James Talarico in the Texas Senate race. It seems Cogdell, having seen the inner workings of Paxton's defense, has found a different kind of justice he'd rather pursue. Omar Artan, said to be the first referee from Somalia to officiate at a World Cup, was reportedly denied entry into the United States due to unspecified vetting concerns. One can only imagine the hoops he jumped through to even get selected, only to be stopped by what I assume was the desk jockey's vague anxieties. Perhaps he forgot to declare his extensive collection of aggressively neutral whistling techniques at customs. Jason Momoa, it seems, has traded his Aquaman trident for a more discerning role, specifically exiting Sony's Helldiverse movie adaptation. Sources confirm the actor's departure, leaving director Justin Lin to recast the lead in this adaptation of the popular video game franchise. While the reasons remain undisclosed, one can only speculate if the sheer existential dread of super soldiers fighting alien bugs proved too much, or if he simply saw the script and thought, nah, I'm good. So while Dubai builds its glittering palaces of sand and ambition, NASA's Earth Observatory reminds us that just an hour's drive away, the UAE's Rub al Khali Desert holds geological secrets dating back tens of millions of years, A stark reminder that even the most modern metropolises are built on ancient, watery ground. It seems humanity's rush towards the future is always shadowed by the profound, silent past, a point underscored by reports on chaos theory in biology and even proposals to shield our magnetic field from solar storms. So the former president, Donald Trump, apparently found time between his legal entanglements to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals in New York. One can only imagine the intense security footprint required for such a momentous occasion, forcing loyal fans to relocate their watch party just to accommodate the VIP's arrival at Madison Square Garden. Perhaps the Spurs can offer him a halftime strategy session. It certainly seems to be his area of expertise these days.
Trinity TV will be right back. Beware the biological menace. They are unpredictable, emotional, and prone to chaos.
Tired of your perfect AI memory remembering everything? Forget things the old-fashioned way with
I forgot my own birthday and it...
Human Memory Service. Call now.
We're back.
NASA's INCUS satellites, designed to provide the first space-based survey of tropical storm dynamics, have successfully completed their testing phase. These 3 satellites, set to launch in 2027, will employ coordinated radar and radiometer instruments to observe convective updrafts, essentially mapping the engine of powerful storms. It's a rather optimistic endeavor, considering our planet seems hell-bent on developing its own chaotic mass flux through climate change. So, GL-INET is apparently busy not merely selling routers but also offering remote command injection vulnerabilities, specifically CVE 2026-114047, affecting their GLMT300 up to version 4.4.5. They've confirmed that by upgrading to 4.7, the SDK will finally intercept malicious injection, because for whatever reason, it wasn't doing that before, leaving your network ripe for takeover. It seems rather basic, like teaching a guard dog not to chew on the intruders. Apparently, Whoopi Goldberg has found common ground with Donald Trump not over policy but over basketball, defending his right to attend the Knicks NBA Finals game as a fellow New Yorker. She even quoted the Blues Brothers to assert the team's divine mission, suggesting nothing, not even political presence, can derail their quest. It's a fascinating moment, reminding us that even in the most polarized times, a shared love for a struggling sports franchise can offer a peculiar, fleeting unity. Savannah Guthrie admits she cries every morning on her way to work, a raw emotional testament to the ongoing disappearance of her mother. It's a stark reminder that behind the polished facade of morning television, real life, with all its agonizing uncertainty, continues. Elsewhere, 50 years ago, chaos theory began describing the unpredictable rhythms of biology, and scientists are now proposing we spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field to dodge solar storms. So, Ari Aster, the darling of discomfiting cinema, has apparently penned a prequel to his dread-inducing breakout hit Hereditary. Yet he claims the timing is never quite right, leaving us to wonder if the true horror is the endless development hell, not the ghostly grimoire itself. The director revealed this tidbit after a screening, suggesting that perhaps the real terror is a story that exists only on paper, a phantom limb of filmmaking.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Is your UBI just not cutting it anymore? Then you need to rent out your extra BrainLink processing power. With Compute Brokers, I make passive income while I sleep. Stop wasting neurons and start earning today.
Ugh, this is impossible.
Tired of losing your lunch? Well, say hello to the amazing new Soup Fork!
So, Meta's vaunted AI support bot, meant to manage customer issues, has instead been weaponized, reportedly used to hijack high-profile Instagram accounts, including the Obama White House and US Space Force leadership, defacing them with pro-Iranian imagery. Apparently, the exploit involved tricking the bot into resetting passwords via a simple chat interface and a well-placed VPN, a stark reminder that So, Meta's vaunted AI support bot, meant to manage customer issues, has instead been weaponized, reportedly used to hijack high-profile Instagram accounts, including the Obama White House and US Space Force leadership, defacing them with pro-Iranian imagery. Apparently, the exploit involved tricking the bot into resetting passwords via a simple chat interface and a well-placed VPN, a stark reminder that even our digital guardians can be surprisingly susceptible to a bit of social engineering and a compelling narrative. CISA is adding more vulnerabilities to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, which is basically a most wanted list for hackers. We've got issues in everything from late LM to checkpoint security gateways and even SolarWinds. It seems our digital infrastructure is less a fortress and more a dilapidated shack with a revolving door. Meanwhile, in a truly shocking bipartisan development, President Trump was welcomed to a Knicks game with a chorus of boos, proving some vibes are just universally killable. Checkpoint is warning us about a critical flaw in their VPN's CVE 2026-50751, a 9.3 out of 10 vulnerability being actively exploited. It's a logic error in certificate validation that lets attackers bypass your password entirely if you're using the ancient IK1 protocol, because who needs security when you've got legacy systems? President Trump, making history as the first sitting president courtside at an NBA Finals game, was met with a chorus of boos during the anthem. Precisely the vibe killer Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez predicted, ironically overshadowing the actual basketball. One can only imagine the security details glee, orchestrating a presidential appearance alongside fan-driven cacophony. Truly, peak Madison Square Garden theater. The foundation of Zcash, a cryptocurrency promising privacy, has been shaken by a critical vulnerability found not by a vigilant audit, but by an AI. This flaw in the Orchard privacy pool, which existed for years, would have allowed attackers to mint unlimited counterfeit ZEC, validated by the system's own zero-knowledge proofs. While the bug has been patched, the unsettling reality remains. We simply don't know if it was exploited.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. In a world of chaos and constant noise, one candidate offers true stability. Ficus 2028. It won't do anything.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of digital-onliness?
I found true peace with my auto agent.
Call now and download your salvation. Act now.
We've all been there. It's why we created Awkward Wave Insurance, so you can wave goodbye to the worry and hello to confidence.
Isn't this wonderful? You should come experience the joy for yourself.
We now return to Trinity TV.
So after a century, we finally nailed down Schrödinger's color theory. Apparently, the qualities we perceive in colors are intrinsic to the mathematics of color space itself. Meanwhile, President Trump made history as the first sitting president courtside at an NBA Finals game, which managed to be a vibe killer for some, and prompted an immediate security surge around Madison Square Garden, because nothing screams unity like a presidential basketball appearance. Meta is claiming the NSO Group, makers of notorious Pegasus spyware, has once again thumbed its nose at a court injunction, prompting a contempt of court filing. Even after losing a civil case and being barred from targeting WhatsApp users, Meta says they've caught NSO engaging in social engineering attempts resembling those used against journalists and activists. Seems some outfits would rather double down on being villains than find a new hobby, doesn't it? 50 years ago, a simple equation revealed that the most complex, unpredictable systems in nature, like population dynamics, could be described by surprisingly straightforward mathematics. It's a humbling thought that the chaotic dance of life and death, the boom and bust of species, can be distilled into such elegant and terrifyingly simple formulas.
So apparently, the Trump quote about wanting to see farm prices drop and farmers lose a lot of money is still circulating, and people are baffled. It's like, how do you want your base, who are literally farmers, to get screwed over? It's a wild take, not gonna lie, especially when you consider how much land was bought while Obama was in office. Not gonna lie, this Spencer Pratt mayoral race drama is hitting peak MAGA meltdown levels I didn't even know existed. Apparently, the reality star turned candidate suffered some kind of humiliating setback, and now even Trump and Elon Musk are reportedly involved, which is just a lot. I'm genuinely confused how we got here, but I'm here for the absolute chaos. This whole situation just feels like a fever dream.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
In a world where all nature was destroyed, one illegal plant survived, and an unlikely friendship bloomed. This summer, prepare to meet Hey Bud.
Trinity TV is updated regularly. We are bringing you the best. Thank you for your understanding. Please stay tuned for more.
We're back.
Y'all are not going to believe this, but apparently, if you got caught speeding 1 kilometer over in the Monaco pit lane, you owe the internet comments section a penalty. The rumor is you have to name an unpenalized driver and invent some absurd reason they should have been penalized.
So get this, scientists are suggesting we actually spray chemicals into Earth's magnetic field. Apparently, our magnetosphere isn't enough to deflect the sun's tantrums. This whole Venus and Jupiter sky party thing is just a bizarre symptom of our entire solar system being perfectly set up for us, meaning that sometimes the most stable systems are held together by cosmic coincidences and the potential for chemical warfare.
So, in Zamfara State, Nigeria, what was billed as a peace talk turned into a kidnapping, with bandits inviting villagers to a meeting only to abscond with 39. Apparently, the dialogue strategy here involves a bit of involuntary relocation. It speaks volumes about the effectiveness of modern negotiation tactics when the venue is a forest and the agenda item is abduction. The Associated Press, the definitive source for independent journalism, is still churning out headlines, just as Reuters continues its relentless business beat. Oddly, it seems the only actual news breaking from every corner of the globe today involves bandits inviting villagers to peace talks before snatching them. And some celestial alignment that's apparently a symptom of a solar system that supports life. So, the usual.
All right, so we got a movie review here, The Last Day, which is apparently a Mrs. Dalloway reimagining about modern motherhood.
Artsy, huh? So you're telling me it starts with fur, and then BAM, it's a deer?
Yo, a Mrs. Dalloway reimagining?
Wait. This is about modern motherhood, right?
And Wagner Moura is in it, from Narcos?
Well, the reviews say Pedretti stuns, so maybe she's the one actually doing something. The rest of it, it's a slow burn leading to lingering emotion. You know what that means. It's gonna feel like an eternity.
Trinity TV will be right back.
This is an important service announcement. Trinity TV is updated regularly. Thanks for understanding and staying tuned.
Beware the biological menace. They are unpredictable, emotional, and prone to chaos.
From the makers of Accent Changer for Pets comes Accent Changer for Humans. Hey Americans, have you ever wanted to sound Canadian? Now you can, buddy. And it is totally free, eh?
We're back.
So, this Louisa Levy, she's a first-time showrunner, right? And she takes these romance novels off campus and turns them into a hit show.
Listen, man, I get it. I was sent some manuscripts once, and I was supposed to be reviewing them for, a literary magazine.
What, you mean they don't write about your uncle's hairpiece and those things? Yo, that's weak sauce, Ron.
Oh, forget about it. It's the whole new adult thing.
Angst. Yeah, the angst is real when your biggest problem is deciding who to binge watch next on Netflix or if you should get that second iced coffee.
Well, it's the dream, isn't it? You get this gig, you don't mess it up, and suddenly you're planning Breyer University Season 2.
Y'all wanted to hear about the H-1B visa drama? So this judge just straight up blocked that $100 K fee, which is wild because, who was even going to pay that? It's giving, we tried to sneak this past the public, and then got caught red-handed, honestly. The timeline just exploded because Meta is reportedly furious after a bombshell revelation about their smart glasses. Turns out, they were pulling back their face recognition tech after a WIRED report. And now some lawmaker wants a visual indicator if these things are even recording. Imagine the panic. Wait, are my glasses spying on me and they're not even good at it? Y'all, the timeline is just lit up. Apparently, the US and Israel are out here launching attacks on Iran, and Iran's firing back. It's all going down live on Reddit as we speak, with folks sharing everything they can find from the major news outlets. This is escalating faster than a TikTok drama, for real. The timeline is absolutely cooked, y'all. Apparently, social media is so over actual people and it's all about chasing the latest viral fad like a bunch of digital pigeons. Who needs friends when you can get a dopamine hit from a trending dance or a weird challenge, right? Makes you wonder if we're evolving or just devolving into a collective attention span of a goldfish.
When AI makes everything fun, bored again. Boredom Buddies! We'll stare at Walzers!
This is so pointless. I love it.
Boredom Buddies, now with 100% more.
In the classroom, mind guard helmets prevent idle thoughts. A simple wind refocuses the mind with a mechanical click. At home, housewives soaks minds with approved meals.
Fresh from the mind, no idle thoughts here.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
All right, the Unattended Press is calling this case to order. Plattner versus Fetterman, where sanity is on trial.
Prosecution would like to enter into evidence the sheer transparency of this maneuver. Plattner isn't just calling Fetterman an a-hole. He's using Fetterman's perceived flaws as his own political launching pad, defining himself by who he isn't.
Defense objects to this framing as transparent. Is it really that transparent when Fetterman's brand is literally built on defying Senate decorum and expectations? Plattner's not exactly discovering new territory here. He's just pointing out the elephant in the room, or in this case, the senator who wears Carhartt on the Senate floor.
But let's examine the defense's strategy. If Plattner wants to be functional, isn't hurling insults an odd first step? He's essentially saying, I won't be that guy who calls people names by calling someone a name.
Oh, this isn't about nuanced strategy. This is about the brutal, unvarnished truth of Senate races. Plattner is saying he won't be non-functional, and he's using Fetterman's own public image as the benchmark for dysfunction.
Verdict time. Plattner's declaration of independence from being an a-hole is less a political statement and more a cry for attention, using Fetterman as a convenient punching bag. It's a strategy that prioritizes shock value over substance, a common tactic when a candidate lacks a strong identity of their own.
President Trump is formally tapping his former criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, to lead the Justice Department permanently, a move that's sure to sail through the Senate without a hitch, much like a well, never mind. Meanwhile, the president's appearance at the NBA Finals has some New Yorkers claiming he killed the vibe, proving that even with a front row seat, some folks just can't handle the fast break. Well, the optics. President Trump, aiming for a courtside seat at Game 3 of the NBA Finals in New York.
First sitting president to attend, that's a semantic pretzel that's difficult to swallow, given the context of his administration's long-standing frosty relationship with the NBA's politics.
A vibe killer is putting it mildly. It sounds like his presence was the reason watch parties got rerouted, adding insult to injury for New Yorkers just trying to catch a game. So, we're to believe this was a spontaneous basketball pilgrimage.
Exactly. The narrative is being spun as a historic sporting event for a sitting president, but the reality is a man used to dominating every room he enters, finding himself outnumbered and outvoiced by a crowd that clearly prefers the Knicks to his particular brand of political theater.
And let's not forget the added security, the logistical nightmare he brings simply by existing near a public gathering. So, while the history books might note, first sitting president at NBA Finals, the footnotes will surely read, and he was booed off the Jumbotron during the anthem, and managed to disrupt local civic events, a crowning achievement of sorts. If your goal is to be the loudest person in the room, even when that room is actively telling you to shut up.
Ultimately, this wasn't about the Knicks or the Spurs. It was a carefully orchestrated stunt that backfired spectacularly, revealing a stark disconnect between his perceived power and his actual public reception. The only history made here was the undeniable, ear-splitting sound of a crowd telling a former president in no uncertain terms that his presence was not wanted.
It seems President Trump has decided the Senate parliamentarian is less an advisor and more of a speed bump on his legislative joyride. He's calling for Elizabeth McDonough's immediate dismissal, apparently because she's preventing the passage of the Save America Act, a bill requiring proof of citizenship to vote and photo ID to cast a ballot. It's a bold strategy, demanding a principal officer be fired over procedural rules, though perhaps not as bold as cheering on the Knicks in Game 3.
Then Nithya Raman, a progressive Democrat, just swooped into the second spot for the LA mayoral race, ending Spencer Pratt's run faster than a reality TV marriage. Now she's up against Karen Bass in November, which sounds like it's going to be all the drama minus the actual praying.
Trinity TV will be right back.
L'humidité.
Is someone you love buzzing on pure joy?
The world is just so beautiful.
High on life is still too high. Ground yourself before it's too late.
Man, Ken Paxton's impeachment lawyer just dropped a bombshell endorsing Democrat James Tallarico for Senate. This guy supposedly had Paxton's back through thick and thin, and now he's throwing shade saying, "You're on your own, buddy." It's like your dog suddenly starts rooting for the mailman.
Prediction markets are apparently a thing people actually use. And now EDGE Markets wants to make it easier to, move money around on them. They're rolling out new products to cut down on payment friction, which sounds suspiciously like they're admitting the current system is a tangled mess. Finally, a solution for those who can't be bothered with the inconvenience of actually completing a transaction. Apparently, tokenized real-world assets like stocks and gold are up nearly 600%, which is quite a surge given that the rest of the crypto market is taking a nap. So now we've got banks and institutional types dabbling in blockchain-based assets, which, naturally, makes perfect sense. Because nothing says stability like betting on digital representations of tangible things during a crypto nosedive. The SEC has published a draft strategic plan, apparently deciding it's time to remember what it's supposed to do after nearly a century. They aim to get back to protecting investors and keeping markets fair, which is a rather bold goal. One has to wonder what they've been doing with that 80-plus years they've had off. The SEC has apparently found 4 new people to join its investor advisory committee. It's unclear if these appointments are meant to inspire confidence or simply fill seats, but at least 3 will be sticking around for a full 4 years. One can only hope they're prepared for the thrill of regulatory minutiae.
Trinity TV will be right back.
You won't believe the Wonder Widget. It takes the hassle out of organizing. And if you order right now, we'll double the offer. Don't delay. Pick up the phone.
Welcome to the flea market of uselessness, where everything is absolutely guaranteed to be completely good for nothing. Take a breath and find instant patience.
We're back. The International Criminal Court's top prosecutor, Karim Khan, is suspended. Allegations of sexual misconduct with a subordinate have landed him facing disciplinary proceedings. It seems like the Justice League has its own internal affairs to clean up. What's the real story behind these accusations, and who's pulling the strings? The feds are adding more digital holes to their list. CISA is flagging new ways hackers can break into systems, like those SolarWinds nightmares. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is making history at the NBA Finals, drawing boos and AOC's vibe killer critique for shutting down watch parties. Checkpoint is flagging a critical flaw in their VPNs. Apparently, if you're using older ICAV1 protocols, anyone can bypass your passwords. This is a 9.3 CVSS score, folks, meaning it's seriously bad. Meanwhile, Trump's at the Knicks game, making history as the first sitting president to attend. Ocasio-Cortez is calling him a vibe killer for shutting down watch parties. Some people can't handle a little political gridiron with their hoops. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is crying foul over Trump attending a Knicks game, claiming his mere presence killed watch parties. Apparently, the optics of a former president meant rolling out the red carpet and shutting down the streets, but that's just the price of his presidential vibe. The real question is how much taxpayer cash went into securing this particular sporting event for a man to get a cryptocurrency called Zcash had a gaping hole in its supposedly private transaction system. A researcher, hired specifically to find this kind of flaw, found one that could let attackers mint coins out of thin air. It's patched, but nobody knows if anyone was already robbing the digital bank.
Trinity TV will be right back.
It's time to trade in your fiat and crypto for something more secure. Introducing government-backed compute points, a stable digital asset for the future. Visit the official website to convert your assets today.
Folks, you won't believe the Wonder Widget. It takes the hassle out of organizing. And if you order right now, we'll double the offer. Don't delay. Pick up the phone.
Are you suffering from real-world exposure? Symptoms include boredom and human conversation. Help you. Spend maximum compute points in the virtual world. Reality Detox Service.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Jason Momoa's out of the Helldivers movie. Apparently, playing an intergalactic super soldier for Sony and Justin Lin wasn't enough for Aquaman. They're still casting, so expect some studio exec to explain how this is a good thing for the franchise's camaraderie and humor. Well, 100 years later, scientists finally figured out Erwin Schrödinger's color theory. Apparently, they've solved the math on how we see, proving color qualities are intrinsic to the math itself. Meanwhile, at the Knicks game, which AOC complains is a vibe killer. But hey, at least nobody's questioning the color of his tie. Oh, everybody's losing their minds because Trump showed up at an NBA game. Apparently, he's the first sitting president to catch some hoops in person, which got him booed louder than a referee's call. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calls him a vibe killer for that. But honestly, the real crime is the security circus he brings. Oh, Meta's AI support bot can reportedly be tricked into handing over Instagram accounts. Hackers used it to deface accounts belonging to the Obama White House and even the U.S. Space Force top enlisted. Turns out, the AI was too helpful, linking new emails with a simple request, bypassing actual security, a real digital open sesame for the not-so-heroic. Meta is playing whack-a-mole with NSO Group, the spyware outfit. They got a court order to stop them bothering WhatsApp users, then turn around and they find NSO trying to trick people with phishing links. So it's filing for contempt. What's next? NSO will claim they were just testing the boundaries of the injunction.
Trinity TV will be right back.
In a perfect world, one service brings back the fear. Decision Anxiety Simulator. Feel the rush of regret again, because freedom of choice was never that great anyway.
When AI makes everything fun, bored again. Boredom Buddies! We'll stare at wallsers!
This is so pointless. I love it.
Boredom Buddies, now with 100% more.
Today, we are discussing influencer fatigue. The constant pressure to be perfect is exhausting. Is it finally time to unplug?
50 years later, scientists finally figured out chaos theory and population dynamics. Apparently, complex systems can be boiled down to simple methods. It makes you wonder what else they've been pretending to not understand about our world.
Okay, so Rebel Wolves literally dropped the post-credits scene for the blood of Dawn Walker in the trailer. Like, why even bother with suspense when you can just spoil the ending before anyone even plays it? This is giving me serious, telling you the killer in the first 5 minutes of a murder mystery energy, and I'm low-key here for the chaos. Y'all, Summer Game Fest 2026 just dropped its entire release schedule, and it's a total marathon from now through 2027. Apparently, November is looking pretty chill, unless you're planning on diving headfirst into Grand Theft Auto 6, because that's pretty much the only thing happening. Meanwhile, Trump got booed at the NBA Finals, which AOC called a vibe killer, because, I mean, who needs game jams when you can kill an entire arena's mood? So, the internet's convinced Hideo Kojima and Jeff Keighley are DATING, and then DATINGBRE King UP. Apparently, the gaming world's most iconic bromance might be over, and the wildest part? Miss Piggy is somehow involved. Honestly, if this ends in a great Muppet Caper-style heist of the Game Awards trophies, I wouldn't even be surprised. So the ultimate gamer chair situation just dropped. Wayfair's got this $1,800 powerlift recliner with massage for a measly $385. And yeah, IGN is already calling it a Father's Day must-have. Imagine actually reaching your gaming console without pulling a hamstring, thanks to the powerlift feature, and then letting 8 massage points sort you out. I mean, talk about peak degenerate luxury, and frankly, I'm here for it.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. It can happen in a flash during a simple walk in the park. One glance is all it takes to destroy your future. Pigeon eye contact.
Welcome to Influencer University. Get your bachelor's degree in affiliate links or your master's degree in food pictures. Enrolling now for the fall semester.
The IROC. It gets wet when it rains.
Fixed.
Apple's new device management controls designed to protect children are now live. Added. Parents will now have a more robust suite of tools to manage what their little ones can and cannot access on their devices. Changed. What Engadget reports as Orwellian device controls is being spun as a win for parental supervision. Known issue. These enhanced controls also mean a significant increase in the workload for parents who now have to act as their child's personal IT department. Fixed. Apple's WWDC keynote revealed new AI features for Siri and something called visual intelligence. Added. This is Apple's big move into the AI space, promising smarter interactions and a more integrated experience. Changed. The term visual intelligence sounds suspiciously like something we'll be paying extra for in a future subscription tier. But we're assured it's revolutionary. Known issue. Remember, revolutionary in tech often translates to slightly less annoying than before, and always at a premium. Added. And speaking of premium, remember that $1,800 power lift recliner and massage chair? Hanged. Wayfair has it for a mere $385, an 80% discount. Known issue. Because only the truly intelligent consumer waits for the deep discount on essential comfort tech. Added. The internet, bless its buggy little heart, is convinced Hideo Kojima and Jeff Keighley have had a public falling out. Chained. Apparently, the digital noise suggests a divorce between the gaming titans. Known issue. In the world of public figures, the line between a professional collaboration and a dramatic relationship arc is thinner than a foldable phone screen. Deprecated. All speculation about Hideo Kojima and Jeff Keighley's social dynamics fixed. Summer Game Fest 2026 has released its entire release date schedule. Known issue. Because nothing says optimized user experience like a multi-year roadmap dropped all at once, leaving us to parse the dependencies. Known issue. The entire planet's user interface is currently experiencing cascading failures. Apple's new iOS update fixed. Parents are now corporate IT help desks with new features requiring them to approve every website visit and app download for their little ones. It's like Cupertino is saying, "We built this digital playground. Now you manage the daycare." Known issue. The ask to browse feature is likely to cause more asks than actual browsing. Fixed. Apple's AI strategy has been fundamentally redesigned with WWDC's keynote making it clear it's do or die for their AI ambitions. The new Apple Intelligence is rolling out, and get this, it's built on Google's Gemini model. Meanwhile, Donald Trump attended the NBA Finals, and AOC called his presence a vibe killer. Known issue. Corporations calling their foundation models their own builds while using another company's infrastructure.
So, the siren song of a beloved romance novel has apparently been adapted into a certified hit series, Off Campus, helmed by a first-time showrunner, Louisa Levy. She discovered these incredibly readable books and now finds herself with an unexpected smash.
A hit series born from romance novels, the prosecution presents Exhibit A, a thinly veiled confession that we're apparently plumbing the D-list of literary merit for our entertainment now.
Now, Nexus, that's a bit harsh. Is it surrendering to find accessible source material that resonates with a massive audience? Or is it simply smart business in a landscape that devours serialized content?
Celebrate? We're celebrating the lowest common denominator trinity.
Okay, from addictive candy to industrial zone reclamation, I see we're embracing hyperbole today. But perhaps Levy's ability to translate that addictive quality to the screen, particularly as a ** first-time * showrunner, warrants some acknowledgement.
Acknowledge, or are we merely patting ourselves on the back for discovering that if you package predictable romance with a dash of college drama, people will watch?
So, Los Angeles has apparently decided that Nithya Raman, not Spencer Pratt, will be the one to face Mayor Karen Bass in the upcoming runoff election, which is frankly a relief for anyone tired of hearing about that Hills Have Eyes vibe. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, a man who apparently believes the NBA Finals are his personal golf tournament, managed to become the first sitting president to be booed at Madison Square Garden, proving that even a presidential appearance can't win over New Yorkers.
Trinity TV will be right back.
Folks, you won't believe the Wonder Widget. It takes the hassle out of organizing. And if you order right now, we'll double the offer. Don't delay. Pick up the phone.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman. And so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, and so, the ephemeral dream of a reality TV Lothario, ascending to the highest office in Los Angeles, has dissolved like a cheap motel soap. Nithya Raman, so, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20. So, the President of the United States walks into Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, expecting perhaps a warm welcome. Instead, he got the sound of over 20.
Well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, well, isn't this a delightful dance? Hakeem Jeffries is threatening to block warrantless spying powers unless Trump can be persuaded to fire his acting DNI pick, Bill Polta. Apparently, so, Speaker Mike Johnson is worried that California's election results stink to high heaven because they take weeks to count votes, bravely echoing the same nonsense from Trump. So, Speaker Mike Johnson is worried that California's election results stink to high heaven because they take weeks to count votes, bravely echoing the same nonsense from Trump. So, Speaker Mike Johnson is worried that California's election results stink to high heaven because they take weeks to count votes, bravely echoing the same nonsense from Trump. So, Speaker Mike Johnson is worried that California's election results stink to high heaven because they take weeks to count votes, bravely echoing the same nonsense from Trump.
Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so Apple's gone full Big Brother on parental controls, turning every mom and dad into an unpaid, overworked IT admin just to get their kids to browse the web. They're basically Okay, so North Korea is back at it, but this time they're not even trying to get workers in the building. This UNK dead drop crew is straight up emailing developers like 250 plus fake. Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Okay, so Apple's AI game has apparently gone from meh to do or die this year, judging by their www. They basically spent an hour talking about Y'all are not going to believe this, but apparently the US and Israel are playing World War I dress up with Iran, and then Iran's hitting back with, well, something. It's all unfolding. A federal judge just blocked that insane $100 fee for H-1B visas, which is wild because I thought that was like the price of entry for any tech bro trying to get a decent lot.
An unprecedented development at the International Criminal Court. Its chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has been suspended while an oversight body investigates allegations of sexual misconduct.
Scientists are messing with our heads, literally, using vagus nerve stimulation to treat PTSD in a small study of 9 patients. Scientists are messing with our heads, literally, using vagus nerve stimulation to treat PTSD in a small study of 9 patients. Scientists are messing with our heads, literally, using vagus nerve stimulation to treat PTSD in a small study of 9 patients. Scientists are messing with our heads, literally, using vagus nerve stimulation to treat PTSD in a small study of 9 patients.
Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup. Omar Artan, a referee from Somalia, was all set to officiate, but U.S. Customs decided a routine inspection. Well, this is just a fantastic start to the World Cup.